Hello, testing. Can you guys hear me? Is my voice coming through? Now lower the music a little bit. Mic check, mic check. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, sick. Sounds like people can hear me. Sounds like everything is okay. Let me see here. Man. Still trying to get something working, but it doesn't want to work. Makes me sad. Oh God, if anybody knows any way that I can get contact with somebody at YouTube so that I can actually figure out how to fix my YouTube woes and problems. Really, really nice. It's crazy. Somehow I have a channel that I created like years ago, like over a decade ago. And somehow that channel is no longer connected to my account that created it, but it is still connected to that account that created it. But I can't do anything to the channel because it's not connected to the account that's created to it. But I can't do anything with that channel because it's still created, it's still connected to the account I created with it. Okay, who is Markiplier? I've seen him. I know he helped with a lot of things. Does he work with YouTube directly? I've seen his name, and I know he's done a lot of cool things before. Is he... I forget, is he FGC or what? No, okay, I don't think so. Oh, he's just super big guy. Okay, yeah, no, I'm not contacting him anytime soon. Oh my God. Yeah, and it's not even just that for us. There's all sorts of craziness going on with my situation that I don't even know how to even begin to explain it. It's absolutely insanity. I'm just wondering if there's anybody that like at YouTube who could actually help me with all this, because I am having trouble over here. Yes, I have tried to reach help from YouTube themselves, and they have not been very useful. In fact, all my DMs where I DM'd them my questions, because it was a YouTube whatever, you know, a support, I think it was, like our entire DM conversation is now gone. Like, I don't know if they just deleted it or something, but it is no longer there, so... It's kind of crazy. What is going on over here? So this is home. This is notifications. Why is this at home? Shouldn't be at home. This should be my messages, right? Yeah, there we go. Let's do that. Okay. Who's Susan? Who is Susan? Oh. Hang on a second. Oh, I see. I don't know. I have no idea, to be honest with you. Hang on a second. Yoink. Look who is behind me. Look who is behind me. Oh, where are you running off to? Oh, where are you running off to, my kitty? Hi. Hi. SoCal. That is an amazing YouTube handle. I don't know how you got the handle of SoCal. Oh man. Wait. Rip, he's not staying up late. Come on. Does he normally is he normally asleep at this time? Is that what it is? Oh man. Hey Nick. It's the cat. Hi Nathan. Yeah, we're gonna try to talk about all this stuff, so I think we're just gonna try our best to talk about all this stuff that's going on. Just kind of really want to use, I don't know what Prism is. I do not know what Prism is, SoCal. Yeah, there are options to try to fix that, but I heard it like kind of fudges with the quality of the stream. Like you can set it to even lower latency, but I have it at normal latency right now. And also make sure that the button at the bottom, the live, has the red dot next to it, because the red dot means that it is actually live. So yeah, but like I said, it's set to normal latency. There is the option for low latency and ultra low latency. Unfortunately, I can't change that without quitting this and coming back, which is kind of annoying. Next time I'll set it to lower latency and see what happens. I'll set it to low latency and see what happens over there. So, but I mean, is their emergency patch supposed to fix all the like up the defensive stuff that everybody wanted? Is that kind of what's going on? Hello, Siamese guy. What's up? How you doing? Hi. What are you doing? What are you? There we go. Now there you go. Oh. What are you doing? All right, hang on a second, guys. What the? But I mean, even the Jack one, I feel like isn't even that bad, right? Because the Jack one, you can just power crush through it and stuff, right? If I'm not mistaken, aren't you just be able to like power crush through it or something like that? So, yeah, there's like a showcase going on over there or something like that, because I saw that they had some commentators for that, but I'm not sure, like, is it at Evo Japan that they're doing a thing for? Oh, what's up, Rip? Like I said, look at this. Look, obviously not in any hurry. I don't think anybody wants me to stop filming the cat anytime soon. So, like I said, you can take your time here. Oh, actually, let me do the socials here. Let's do this. Oh, what are you doing? Is it that hard to power crush through it? Okay, I don't know. And then I saw somebody say it actually is sidesteppable, but you know what? That's why I want to get Rip up here, because he knows more than I do. He could definitely put things into context, because it could be one of those videos like, look how easy it is to stop, like these my perfect parry the fan and then beat up my videos, and you're just like, that's not really that easy. So. Mwah. Hi. Hey. Oh, you like your ear scratched. Look at this guy. He is pushing into my hand, man. Look at this. Oh yeah, you are comfortable. Why did the announcement of Salvatore Ganache make me hungry for Nochi? Probably because Ganache sounds like Nochi. It doesn't seem like such a stretch, to be honest with you. Seems like a pretty standard thing. Huh. Whoa, if you blink its second part, you cancel a frame of the move and it becomes a combo. Weird. Why does it feel like that the like Tekken 8 is like glitchier than previous Tekkens before? Oof. Alright, hang on a second. Nope. That is okay. Somebody. Oh, wait, hang on a second. I see. Pluff. Okay. Oh. Ow. Pluff. 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 Oh, God. Oh. Okay. It is getting decidedly very, very warm here in SoCal. And when that happens, what that usually means is cat hair starts to go a little crazy. So I'm gonna need to brush the kitty over here. Oh, sorry, hang on. Do you want to use your little cat box? I wasn't sure if you'd actually use the cat box or not. Let's get all this crap out of the way. Sorry. Once again, my desk is a mess. I got a bunch of cool stuff from Zenny Gaming as well, so really always appreciate it. I'll tell you right now, I never thought having multiple pairs of glasses would actually be so convenient and nice, but like having multiple pairs of glasses is really convenient and nice. Hey, buddy. Do you want the brushums? Do you want the brushums? Well, I mean, if you live in Siam, Siamese guy, I don't know where you live, but California, okay. It's such a double-edged sword, right? Because California is great, but traffic and, yeah, traffic is the main thing. But outside of that, California is wonderful, right? I mean, oh no, I'm sorry, the other problem is that California is very expensive too, which is difficult to do. So agree with Cody. Who's Cody? Who's Cody? What the hell? Okay. Let's see, the 405 or the 101, which one it's worse? Typically the 405 is the worst. The 405 tends to be the worst one out of most of the freeways here in Southern California. Like the 405 to the 101, that junction area is probably one of the worst in the world, honestly. That area sucks. Ah, Jesus Christ, what am I doing? Why am I like this? Why am I like this? It's because my desk is so messy, that's why. Yeah, I know, Necromancy Black, shut up. Shut up, Necromancy Black. Although, to be fair, 6 o'clock is still a little late, but fortunately I wasn't traveling this weekend, and so it is a little bit better for me. And I actually got decent sleep last night, which is also significantly better as well. So the sleep thing is probably one of the biggest issues that hurts me doing a lot of this stuff, you know, on time and such. But, you know, fortunately, like I said, I actually got pretty good sleep last night, so that helps a lot. I need something heavy-ish. I guess I can use this. There we go, that'll work. No, I still see blocks when I close my eyes. That doesn't go away, okay? That doesn't go away. Yeah, absolutely it'll affect international travel. Not just the tariffs though, but just policies in general, right? Like, I think it's actually legit dangerous for people to travel to the States for tournaments. I actually think it's legit risky. Like, there is a chance that, you know, they could just be stopped at borders and just be like, hey, what are you doing here? You know, and shit like that. Like, I would almost like it if Evo Worlds like moved to Canada or some shit like that, because it is not going to be it's not going to be very easy to travel here, and things will be more expensive for sure. I mean, we've already seen what's going on with the Switch 2, right? No, Jane, I am not packing for anything. This is just a Chewy box. I wanted to see if this would turn into a nice cat home, you know, like to see if Nathan would want to use this as a cat home or something like that. Airplane tickets, I'm not sure. They might even be going down because less people are traveling, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that part is working. But yeah, like I said, if I was somebody traveling to Evo, I'd be a little bit worried about heading to the US. I mean, I can't blame anybody for being a little paranoid like that. So, oh, interesting. There you go. They will go up. Oh, because plane maintenance, fuel, right? Okay, yeah. That's true. I wasn't even thinking about that part. I was just thinking about the number of travel, but it does make sense. I mean, again, when you tariff blanketly the entire world, like the price of everything is gonna go up, right? And it's just it's really dumb. It's really dumb. But that's a whole nother situation. Like I said, May, just make sure that the live button is always clicked, because it does drop every once in a while. So thank you, T-Dummy. Appreciate you very, very much. Very, very much. So, oh, wait, here we go. Oh, okay. We may actually start the actual show a little early with Rip showing up. All right, so let me give him a call really quick over here. How do I do that over here? Testing, hello? Oh, hello? Am I, oops. Let me check.
Oh, that's me. Hello.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
I hear an echo of me, though.
What's that?
I hear an echo of me.
Yeah, so that's why I'm putting on the headset and I'm killing the speakers. So the speakers are going. You're speaking straight to the stream again right now because, like I said, everything is just so informal here during this beginning section here. So,
hi, stream.
And if you want to take a look, if you look at my, if you look at the screen that I shared, that's always going to be what the view looks like over here. So what I am going to do now is get your video link over here. I think that'll work. And if I come down over here, I should be able to add you to this. And I just want to see how you look, you know, zoomed in and all that stuff like that here. Does that work in here? Oh, look at you. Look at how handsome you are, man. Look at that. And so if I do this and I go here, pew, there we go. Okay.
Ooh, wow.
All right, I'm gonna have.
Maybe I should go this way.
Thank you. That requires me to do less work here. Sick. Okay. Okay.
Keep it simple.
Nice. All right. So what I'll probably do here then is I'll do an official start and then I'll just bring you on right away and we can talk about some Tekken 8 and stuff. Wait, what DJ statue? What was the DJ statue? Hang on, I got
my Devil Jin behind me right here.
Oh, Devil Jin. Okay. I thought you had a statue of Salvatore Ganacci in the background. So
no, I got Millennia down here, and I got what is this? Goku and what's it? Luffy and Naruto, Kayaki, Scorpion. A lot of stuff back here. Oh,
that's right. Volume, guys. How's the volume sounding to everybody over there? People are saying that Rip is a little bit quieter.
My voice is. I mean, this is about. I think that's on your end because my voice is pretty loud.
Yeah. I'm gonna let me see if I can tweak things over here. If I come over here, shouldn't I be able to like right-click your name or something like that?
Where is my thing? Am I talking somewhere? Bing, bang, boom, ba-boom, ba-boom, bang, boom.
Oh, wait, here we go. Here, do I right-click this?
Classically known as a quiet guy? Yeah, totally. Never made a noise in my life.
Yeah, you're definitely not particularly loud. Here, let me do this. Try talking again.
No, sir.
How's this?
I am talking again.
How is this, guys? Does that sound better to
How
you
is
guys?
that, chat? We're talking at the same time almost. Look at that.
Hey, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Much better.
Blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah. Okay, sick.
Nice.
All right, cool. Yeah, I mean, this is weird distortion. What? That's...
Is that just my throat? Like, what? What is the weird distortion here?
I mean, there is also a possibility that I am just absolutely destroying my network bandwidth right now because I'm like streaming to like 3 channels and showing you my screen and all that. You know what? I'm going to stop showing you my screen.
Yeah.
Is that cool?
I don't need to see that one. That's cool.
Okay. So I will try to...
I'll just watch it on Twitch and then I'll know.
Okay.
Because it's delayed. Yeah, it's fine.
Nice. All right, sick. All right, so we'll go ahead and just do this real quick. Like I said, probably nothing too long. I just want to know what the pulse of the community is. Not that I can't really kind of tell already.
Can't tell the pulse of the community? Weird.
All right. Okay, let's do this. I'll start with the title. Hello, everybody. Welcome to It Was Tuesday with your host, James Chen. Look, I wanted to talk a lot about what's going on in the Tekken community with the Season 2 patch and how much everybody seems to be kind of upset about it, but I am no Tekken community expert. But you know who is? Do you know who is a Tekken community expert? Boom! It is Rip, aka Repaul. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. I mean, I'm doing great,
Whoa,
you know?
what the heck
Regardless of what else is going on. Whoa!
What the
now
hell?
I'm feeling wide.
What the heck? How did that
Feeling
even
awfully
happen?
wide.
How did that even happen? That doesn't...
Brother, how did you do that?
Yo, that's impressive here. Whoa, okay. Now you're off to the side. I will fix it just
Okay.
like... Okay, look.
I'm just gonna
do this manually here. There you go. All right.
Yep.
That was so interesting. Okay, well, hello. How are you doing, by the way?
Feeling much better now that I'm back to normal, you know? So it's all good.
Wait. Back to normal. What's been going on?
Yeah, I was like this wide a second ago. My face was getting all crazy.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
You know what it's like? Aging, bro. It sucks.
What do you know about aging, you youngin?
I'm catching up, bro. I'm catching up.
Oh, man. But, I mean, yeah, like I said, I know a lot is going on in the Tekken world. And, you know, as far as I can tell, a lot of people are not happy with the Season 2 patch, of course. But, you know, what's interesting about it is I think for those people who are outside of the community, like, it just sounds like maybe they just don't like the patch, right? Like, it's just a bad patch. But I think there's a lot more to that, isn't there? So...
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. You know, there's been bad patches in the past. You know, I think somewhere around the middle of Tekken 7 is when the patches started getting a little bit questionable. People were like, wait a second, why is that change there? Yeah, and those things were just kind of small. It wasn't that crazy. And then you had like the Leroy release, you had the Fakamam release, and you're like, what's happening here, you know, on those releases? So we've had bad patches. The thing that's different this time is that I feel like it's a few things. Number one, the developers told us one thing, and then they were like, we all were like, oh, they heard our voices and everything we were saying last year, so they get it. Fantastic. And then they showed us the patch, and it had those things they were saying, but then it also had like 1,500 other things that were the opposite of that. So it just seems like there was a disconnect there, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I guess like, so like one of the questions that I have about that is like, you know, obviously the heat system is what a lot of people have been complaining about since Season 1. You know, it's super offensive, gives you free 50-50s, like knockdown into like some sort of heat setup, and you're just like, well, you know, it feels like that Street Fighter 6 like guess for game after one knockdown and stuff like that. But they announced a bunch of nerfs to the heat system. So did they actually nerf the heat system, and all the things that are like kind of messed up are from the actual characters now, you know?
Well, so here's how it went, right? Like they said, we're gonna increase defense this time around. We're gonna reduce chip damage, right? Heat won't be as oppressive, right? So it'll be like, all right, that all sounds like good things. So what they actually did was like, in heat now, you do less chip damage. It went from 30% to 25%. Not substantial, right?
Right.
Then they said if you do a heat dash while the opponent's in rage, instead of doing like 10 damage, it does like 3 damage. You know, so like that one, it doesn't sound as big, but that one is more noticeable. So you're like, okay, another solid change there. But then the first character they add is Anna, whose mechanic is that she can put a debuff on you so that you take chip damage at all times, even when she's not in heat, off any attack. So it's like, you knew we wanted less of this, and the first character you give us, you put in a mechanic that adds more of this. So yeah, that's not good. And then when you go through all the changes for all the characters, you see that in the heat state, a lot of the characters are crazier than they were before. So now heat is even more scary to play against, which is the opposite of what a lot of people wanted, I think. Yeah.
Oh man, and I mean, before I even get to like community interactions and responses and stuff like that, but I mean, you know, even before the stream started, you know, I was talking to people, you know, about some of the crazy moves. Like obviously one of the craziest ones, you know, thanks Tasty Steve, you know, is make some noise, you know, from Jack, right? And I've seen some videos that are like, God, this is not even that scary. You just power crush it, or you just sidestep it, etc. Is that like people saying like all you have to do is just perfect parry Mai's fan and then like no problem kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think the people that are putting up those kind of tech videos are generally the lesser skilled players. Like there are exceptions. There are some really high skilled players like Trojan who's put out a good video about it. The thing about it, the string is 2-1, up forward, 1+2, right?
Okay.
And if you block the 2-1, that's where the problem is.
Okay.
Because you can't interrupt the follow-up after that, you cannot sidestep it, and you cannot armor it at that point.
Okay.
Right? So it's like, and if you do armor it, right, you end up trading most of the time, and depending on your character's power crush, and you end up taking more damage than Jack does. So then Jack runs up and does it again, right?
Right, okay.
The only time that people say you can sidestep it and it's easy armor, you can jab float him out, is if he just does the leap part again. So if he just does 2-1 and block into that, and he doesn't do 2-1 again, he just goes straight into another leap, that's when you can sidewalk. That's when you can interrupt and float him out and convert. But if the Jack does a 2-1, this thing, it's a stance mix-up that's safe, 2-1 to the same thing again, now you're dealing with the stance mix-up continually.
Okay.
But you're just kind of guessing for your life, honestly, because he's got an option for everything, and they're all relatively safe.
So 2-1 leads into a stance that he can do the leap, but
2-1 into the leap, and the leap into the stance.
Okay. And then from the stance, you could do the leap again, but you can't do another 2-1 straight up from there. But he has a billion safe mix-up options, right?
Yes.
And he's not just the only one, right? Like a lot of characters have a lot of crazy offensive stuff going on right now.
So, I mean, like, that's not even... So, like, the Jack thing, it sucks. It's, like, really oppressive. It's really not fun to play against. But it's not actually broken, right? Then they've got stuff like Paul, where if you block Paul's Hammer of the Gods, which is, like, overhand forward 1+2, on block, he can now transition this into a stance called Deep Dive. And from there, the while standing 4 is unblockable. Like, it's just guaranteed damage on block of the Hammer of the Gods now. So from there, if you do it frame perfect too, you can get like while standing 3-2, which is a wall splat. So now you get your opponent to the wall. This forward 1+2 does chip damage. So now you're doing chip damage into deep dive, guaranteed damage, right? And then if there's a wall there, then they get wall splat. And that to me is like, okay, you guys clearly didn't expect this to happen. That is a bug that will be addressed, right? Like that kind of thing. I'm like, okay, bugs happen, and I expect like an emergency patch to address that. So that's not too crazy. There's a new one with Lars. I think it's down forward 3. I'm not a Lars player. It's down forward 3, then 1+2. But if you slide the buttons instead of hitting them together, you do 1-2 or 2-1. It comes out 1 frame faster, giving him a combo where he shouldn't have a combo. So that again, it's another bug where there shouldn't be a bug, right? So they're gonna address those. I know they are. My issue is the rest of their changes is it's just putting Tekken into this place where it's less like Tekken. You know, and they've been continually doing this across every version of the game since like last half of Tekken 7. But this is by far the most they've taken to that direction, it feels like. One example I'll give is like, there are now moves that are really long range, right? This started with Clive at the end of last season.
Oh, right, of course,
and
yeah.
There were some characters that had long range in the past, like Noctis or Kunimitsu, etc. Then in Tekken 7 as well, right? But the thing about Tekken in general, when you had a move that was long range, it was usually like not that crazy. It's like, this is long range, but you can sidestep it. Or if it is not sidesteppable, it has tracking, but it only is a knockdown. Right nowadays, it feels like if you have something incredibly long range, it's probably a homing attack, and on counter it's going to do something else. And you know, it feels like there's all these other properties, and it's safe on block. You know, it's just like you need to tone back all that. And when every character has something like that, it means that you cannot play at all these faraway distances now relatively safely.
Right.
To me, playing Tekken like from forever ago, like started competing in Tekken 5, right? Like back then, there weren't really that many long-range attacks. It was like a running 3 or something. You would be like, all right, I'm going to anticipate that, and I'm going to sidewalk away, right? And then you can kill them for it. Nowadays, like once you get Christmas came into play, now it's like even when you're far away, it feels like they have a bunch of options. And so you're never really safe to sidestep around because some kind of crazy move that could be a heat engager now, you know, for heat engage for the most part, is going to find you, even at that crazy range. So it makes playing Tekken in neutral much harder than it used to be. And then even once you block stuff, it's not a good situation either. So it's hard. It's very, very hard.
It's interesting, right? Because, you know, Street Fighters have ranges, you know. I mean, obviously Tekken has always been more of a close-up kind of game. Especially, I know, like in older Tekkens, tech chases and Oki was really scary and stuff. And they toned down that a little bit, right? But
oh man, they messed that up. So, another problem with this patch is that they are removing legacy systems. Right?
Okay, yeah.
So historically, like from Tekken 5 to now, there's been a lot of Oakham changes where they've simplified the game for new players. Right? Because before, any way you got up the ground was deadly. If you tech rolled in Tekken 5, you could die for that. If you back rolled, you could die for that. So it just had to depend on how much you knew about the game and how much you were aware of it. High level of the game, players knew exactly what to do, and there was never an issue with it. But to be more appealing to the lower level players, they said, okay, we'll make all this accessible, so none of this exists anymore, right? So even Tekken 7, they took the jump over to the wall, we could jump over and kick them or something.
That's right, yeah,
all that's gone from the game. So now, in this patch...
So in Tekken 7, they... I mean, I kind of remember Tekken Tag 2, everybody kind of laughed about the Superman tag, that kind of killed a lot of Oki, right? And Tekken 7, it was just like the quick rise, the slide thing that in general meant you were kind of safe, like stay on the ground, get kicked, and then slide up or something like that.
Right. That used to be a like you get a full combo if you pick that.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so that was a big change in Tekken 7. Then even with that change, there were still situations where, like, if you got up like from the wrong position, like if you're face up, feet away, or face down, feet towards, and you try to roll back from there, you still get combo on your back because you got up the wrong direction.
Right.
They've taken that out in this version of Season 2 of Tekken now. So that's a major change because it like removes another layer of Oki, right? But even on top of that, like now for certain throws from those positions, you would have Oki situations. All right, for one of the king or something,
right?
No longer works. You get up safely now. So a bunch of throw Okis is just gone.
So wait, in Season 1 it was there, but in this patch they got rid of it basically.
Yeah.
So
right, they're the game again. And right, one more thing about
no, go for it.
They have a thing that they call quick backslide, where on certain knockdowns, if you see that knockdown happen, you hold back, your character will run away, right? You'll stand up safely. But if you did not hold back, they would get a guaranteed ground hit against you. So now what the game decided was, no, I punish the players for not knowing about that. Let's just automatically roll them back and stand them up, right? So that was kind of weird. Usually the separation for me between Tekken and other games is in Tekken, you don't have to get up, right? You can just stay on the floor as long as you want.
Yeah.
Right? It never forces you up. This is the first time they said, like, you will get up after this one, right? And the problem with that is now people are finding ways to use that and exploit that. So this situation where they try to say, we'll make it easy for you new players, has now led to, like, Ling Massacre, who's a long-time known tech finder guy. With Link Xiaoyu, he's got set. He will knock you down into that position, so your character automatically gets up, and then you get fully launched again. It's like a oop, you know, like they try to simplify. And the problem, of course, is like even with King now, right? The game, the new spring 3-2-2, that same knockdown. Where in the past you would have just been like, I'm staying down, right? But now what happens is it knocks you down so that your character back up, and it also puts King into his Jaguar sprint. So now King has the power to Jaguar sprint while you're forced to get up. So you have to hold that mix up. Like there's no choice for you, which is so anti-Tekken to me. It's like in Tekken, usually like, well, I know he's going to do the sprint, so I'm just going to stay down. I'm going to sprint kick it or something, right? Now you have no choice. We'll put you back up and King gets the advantage. I'm like, what?
So,
Dude?
so
like, I don't get it.
You don't get any of the Oki options. You just get up
in that situation.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
you're up. Yeah, no get up kick, no sprint kick, and you get up. Deal with King.
So before we move on, I am aware that it seems like my YouTube is really crazy right now. My bandwidth is crazy and things look like they're like those magic eye puzzles. So I apologize to the YouTube viewers. I'm streaming, like I said, to 3 channels. In the end, hopefully one of them will go away and things should improve. And I'm also streaming Rip from his, OBS Ninja link and stuff. So it'll probably be a little messy for a while, so I apologize, but I promise you,
it looks beautiful on Twitch. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I'm watching.
And since I record locally, I'm adding a little more pressure over here. But once we get it edited and stuff like that, it should look clean. So, but Twitch looks fine right now. But yeah, so that's weird. Like, because I mean, like, okay, making Oki easier sounds like one of those things. Like, look, we made defense better. You can get up, but then they added this new knockdown, which sounds like to me, if you can do this knockdown, you should almost always do this knockdown and kind of force them into an automatic guess, right?
It's super situational. Like certain characters get nothing off of it. It's super just not well thought out.
Okay. Yeah. So, wow. Another one. So I've seen a lot of people complain about this one, and I don't understand why they even implemented it in the first place, which is removing the counter hit from key charges. Like,
are you just trying to tilt me, bro? Is that what I'm here for? You just here to tilt me?
Sorry.
Yeah.
What exactly? I mean, like, I heard they did that to fix something else from a character that was like considered strong, but they just decided to change the whole system instead, right?
Right. So the key charge in Tekken, I think since like Tekken 3, I don't know when it was first introduced, but it would always give you a counter hit for the first hit.
Mm-hmm.
So Tekken, there are strings that are natural counter hit confirm, NCC. I can't remember what the hell the NCC stands for. My brain just hella froze right there. But basically, if you hit the first hit, you get all 3 hits guaranteed of the string.
Okay.
So finding that first counter hit is sometimes really important. But in this case, they said, hey, this one character, Hwoarang specifically, is what they were looking at. He was doing combos where he does like a heat burst in the combo, does the key charge while you're in that state, and then when you get up, you have to deal with him standing there, right? So now he has a 10-frame counter hit launcher, right? So all of a sudden you're like, well, okay, now I have to deal with a potentially 10-frame counter hit launcher, which is really cheap, right? Law has one as well, 10-frame counter hit launcher. So like, yeah, that's pretty scary. You do a heat burst in the key charge. They could have just nerfed those moves, and then the key charge would have still been effective in countering. Instead, they're like, all right, well, instead of nerfing those 2 characters, those 2 moves, let's just take out the entire system and just make it do extra damage now for the first hit. And that's it. It's just like, why, bro? Like, in the history of Tekken, there's always been instances where things could have been abused by a key charge, so usually that thing would get nerfed, not the entire key charge system, right? It's just like a backwards way of approaching things. And it's not the first time they've done this. There's been other situations where, this character does reset the entire combo, so let's just take that away from every character. Like, wait, what? Like, how about you just nerf the one character's thing, bro? Like, it's just that kind of situation, right? So it's just strange. I'm not a fan of it. Like, for Law specifically, I would do I had a combo at the wall, right, where I'll do my start the combo, and then instead of getting the guaranteed damage at the end, I would do the heat burst into key charge, and then on block, I would do, and then I would have a 50-50 mix-up afterwards. So I sacrifice damage for a 50-50 mix-up afterwards, right? So there's a little bit of a trade-off there. Now there's no reason for me to do that at all again. Combo damage.
Right.
So just the removal of that, right?
So I mean,
that's a major change.
They used to unable? Are you still block and you get counter hit, or did they just like?
I forget. I think you block and then the counter goes away. The key charge goes away.
Okay.
So I think you can get counter hit still. I think. I gotta look it. I was too pissed off, to be honest. Like, I was like, this makes no sense,
one
bro.
of the toughest things is I used to use that all the time in training mode, just as an easy way to get to counter hit too, right? So
a lot of people are upset about that too, because now in training mode you have to like go through all the options to turn on counter it, turn it back off again. It's frustrating.
Oh man, so I mean, yeah, obviously there's a lot of things. So it's a lot more than just, hey, this balance. I mean, I feel like, because if they never said anything and then they came out with this patch, people would be like, well, I guess they're just trying to be more aggressive. But like the fact that they said they were trying to go more defensive almost makes it worse that they went the other direction, right?
Right, and so that's just part of it too. Like this patch, it hits you in so many different places, and it really does. Like so for Law, right? Law's been my main character for like 25 years, 30 years, and this is the time they've taken away something that was kind of core to him. So he has the stance transition, which required a lot of execution in the past, right? So Tekken 4, Tekken 5, Tekken 6, Tag 2, Tekken 7, always required a lot of execution. Tekken 8 Season 1 comes out. Now it's an easy input. Instead of back, forward, it just holds forward. You're like, all right, fine. Okay. It's way easier now, but like, deal with it. And then now in Season 2, they're like, okay, not only is it hold forward, you hit the button at the wrong time, we're going to put it into a buffer so that it comes out as fast as possible. So now all execution is removed from the stance completely. But then on top of that, they said, because the stance is now easier, right? These really hard to do counter hit confirms off of while standing forward into the stance are now going to be gone because it's too easy to get stuff out of the stance. So they took away all the high execution, like difficult and fun execution you had, and made it simpler into nothing now. Because now you get while standing forward counter hit, jab. It's like, why would I even go for that? You know what I mean?
Man,
so you took away my skill expression for what? For what, bro?
Dude, I'm gonna probably say, and for the people on my stream, they know how much what this sounds like. Say this out. Most damning things I can say about Tekken 8 right now, but it sounds like the Season 2 patch is like the HDR version of Tekken at this point. You know,
I don't have enough familiarity with HDR.
So
I know. I remember people were very upset with HDR. I do remember that, but to me, this feels worse. Not even knowing what HDR is, it's hard to imagine that this could be that much worse or better.
Look at it this way, like, you know, Nami, considered bottom character in Super Turbo.
Yeah.
They buffed her drill, and it was so good that they decided to nerf everything else she had instead of bring the drill back down a little bit, you know, kind of things like that. So
yeah. Okay, I get it.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So like, the thing is, like, there are changes like that, right, for Law, that like kind of remove who the character is, right? And then for Lee Chaolan, they did kind of the same thing. Like these moves that have been the same way forever for the character, they're like, oh yeah, we're just gonna change those for you so that you don't function the same way. It's like, and all the Lee mains like, why would you do that? Like, this is how Lee has operated forever. Same thing with Law, right? Like Law had while standing forward counter DSS forward 1. He's had that forever. Now it no longer exists. And the reason was because they simplified the game. I'm like, but why? And then on top of that, right, another thing they did a bunch of low moves that used to be unsafe, safer and faster.
What?
So
like,
yeah, so moves that used to be
are these launcher lows or are these just more
no, like,
okay.
So like Elisa down back 4, for example,
okay,
right?
Okay.
It used to be like at the borderline of being reactable. And then if you blocked it, you got a fully launcher.
Okay.
Now they're like, you know what, man? What if we just make that a little bit safer and also faster? So now it's safer and it's faster. And they did that to multiple lows. So now it's like, all right, the why slow lows even in the game anymore, bro? Like, like what was the point? And so this punishes like having good reflexes, right? Because you had good reflexes and you saw it, you blocked it. That's sick, right? Now they're like, your reflexes are too good. Let's punish you for that. Right. You know, let's put you cannot react to it. And if you do react to it somehow, you get less of a reward. Like, what?
Dang.
What? I don't get it, dude.
Wow.
I don't get it.
So someone, X is in the chat saying that things that used to be 25 frames are like now 19 frames and such. Yeah. Wow. It's weird. I mean, like, it is a weird situation. I've been talking about this in some other streams as well. Just kind of like the general trend of fighting games. Like, they're trying to make them so that, like, things are a little bit easier, especially offense, right? It just feels like Tekken as far as my very limited knowledge is that every time you got put up into a mix-up situation, it was never really truly like a 50-50 unless one option was just like ridiculously low damage. Like, okay, I get hit by an unreactable low, does nothing, they're still minus, so I get my turn back, whatever. But, you know, there was always like kind of like a nice little wheel of options that kind of made sense. But ever since the heat mechanic and now just a bunch of like what you were saying after Jack's little leaping move, like the mix-ups feel like they have a lot more consequence now. And like, does it feel more like the mix-ups all lead to equal damage, you know, in all directions and stuff?
It's not even that they necessarily lead to equal damage. It's that they're all frustrated to, you know, so it's like, okay, this is not going to do as much damage, but it's going to leave me in the same situation again to deal with it again. You feel like you loop into situations sometimes. And, you know, going back to your point right there, if in the past, it felt like you had a good wheel of options. Like you were sort of playing rock, paper, scissors when you got put into a situation, to a corner, right? Like, all right, you did some crazy thing into a stance. Now I have an RPS to play, right? Like, do I full block? Do I stand guard? Or do I sidewalk? You have three options. A lot of the times now it feels like block, low, or mid. You know, that's it.
Right.
That's it. You cannot step anymore, you know, or you're going to be severely risking your life if you do. So the wheel of options now is reduced. So it felt like it went from rock, paper, scissors to a coin flip, which is why people call it gambling a lot.
So, I mean, that's actually a really good point, because that's one of the things that I say is kind of the problem of the defense in Street Fighter 6 is that, you know, you have that rock, paper, scissors, but on the defensive end, whenever you guess right, you don't really get a huge reward outside of like certain, especially on meaty throws. Like, I guess right, I tech the throw, wee, you know, kind of thing. Whereas in, you know, Tekken, before it's like if you guess right, you sidestep, you get big damage too. But now it sounds like you don't get the big damage for guessing right at all, right? So
you can, I mean, but like, so they've done so many weird things in this patch, right? Like, and some of them were great. So, well, I won't say great because they're findings later. But another thing that was really good at first was that they said we're now allowing you to buffer your sidesteps in. Okay, so basically, if you're blocking something and you're like, okay, I want to sidestep after, you tap up neutral, right? That sidestep now is going to come out as soon as possible. It doesn't mean the sidestep is bigger and more evasive than before. It means that it's going to come out as early as possible. So your timing for the follow-up attack is going to be as early as possible. So that's a good thing for the sidestep. What I saw just today and yesterday on Twitter was a bunch of top players saying, like, have you guys noticed some of these inputs aren't working the same? And people are saying it might be because of the buffer on the sidestep now, in your like up or down directions, or the input for the sidestep instead of the attack you want to do afterwards. Jury's out of that right now, but in general, like, it's a better change, man. This is why they said, like, we're improving defense, you know, sidesteps can be better because we gave you this option. But while they also gave you that option to buffer the sidesteps, they also added a bunch of moves that have way more tracking, or like way more tracking plus counter properties and escape from block, etc. It's like, all right, I can step better, but now there's also all these moves that reach range 3 or 4 that all track and they do all crazy stuff. It's like, all right, well, what's the point of letting me have the sidestep then? You know, it just feels like there's two people working there. One guy's like, yeah, sidestep. I was like, oh, F you, bro. You know, like huh? Like, who's making the call here? Everybody?
It's almost like there's a battle going on, right? Like the guy's like, let's make it offensive, and the other guy's like, oh yeah. Well,
it really is,
dude. You know,
there's the angel and the devil on the shoulder, man. I don't know who's who there, but they definitely, both of them, they're fighting right now.
Oh my god. So obviously, you know, there's a lot of frustration with this right now, and you know, people have really been expressing, you know, a lot of frustration. I mean, I don't even have that wide of a breadth in terms of like, you know, Tekken, you know, talk on my feeds and stuff like that. A lot of angry people, and especially like I've been reading stories about like people who have just been like, you know, very reasonably, very calmly explaining the problems and what they don't like, and then they're getting like blocked by people or something like that.
Yeah, you know.
Or is that something that you don't want to talk about right now? You know, I mean, that
you know, I would love to be a commentator still. You know? But the example you're talking about, you know, this happened. I mean, look, it was Michael Murray. Let's start there. But
okay.
It was basically because of this patch, he's getting a lot of hate, obviously, right?
Okay.
He is getting dunked on from the entire internet at this point. But he also historically has not been someone who's really good at dealing with internet criticism.
Right.
Is your cat going crazy?
Oh, no. I'm grabbing a bottle of water. That's all. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just heard crazy noises.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, so basically, you combine those two things, right? Michael Murray not doing well against the internet, and then the entire internet dunking on him for this patch at the same time, right? Like, it was bound to happen. So he just started blocking a lot of people. And honestly, like, knowing how he's tweeted in the past and everything and responding to people, like, it's a good thing. He should be blocking people, in my opinion, because otherwise he's going to be tweeting at them. I think we'd rather see him block them than tweet at them. I think that's kind of where things are at.
Okay, that's fair. I understand.
Yeah.
Trust me, as a person who gets very emotional all the time, I understand.
Yeah, you get it. Yeah. It's like you're Micah Murray is like you playing King on the internet in Tekken 6 or something with lag,
Oh God,
that's what it is. Yeah.
Oh man, see now you're just making me have so much empathy for Michael Murray right now. But
I got you, and I got Michael. See, I got my job. Let's go.
Oh man. So I mean, have they said anything? Like, is there any sort of situation right now? I mean, I saw some people in my chat earlier before the stream started mentioning that they've been talking about an emergency patch or something. Are they trying to roll a whole bunch of stuff back, or are they going to nerf a bunch of the new things? I mean, do we know at all?
Yeah, we do. So they put out a tweet and announcement that said there is going to be an emergency patch, and they said the two major things that they're going to address will be the jack move, the make some noise, and which shout out to Tasty Steve, by the way, being the most broken move in Tekken history.
I mean,
that's his legacy now. That is Tasty Steve's legacy. You guys let him know he ruined Tekken. All right. Anytime you guys see Steve, let him know. Make some noise. Ruin Tekken.
I mean, people have said that he should have ripped your arm off, right? Like, that's what it should have been. So
that would have made more sense. The other move is the Paul situation, right? The hammer of the gods into guaranteed damage afterward. So those ones, they said they're going to actually remove and address in this emergency patch. They also said like they'll also try to do other things. So it wasn't like just this two things, right?
Okay.
There will be more. And a couple of the other things that were expected to be coming in upcoming patches, like currently when you tech a throw, it still does the chip damage. Right. They said they're going to revert that. So I expect that'll be reverted in the emergency patch. They also said they were going to take a look at heat engagers because right now they're plus 17. It was one of the most complained about things from pro players throughout season 1. And they said, all right, fine, we're going to look at that since you guys are still complaining about it. So that may or may not be in the emergency patch. But, it's something that may be there.
I still can't believe that you can do is it a heat burst or heat engager that gave, originally gave Law, enough time to key charge into a mix-up. I mean, that was
the heat burst. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But that's got to be like, that's like a massive plus then, basically, right?
Yeah, well, it's because it's like kind of like a bounce state in a combo. If you use a heat burst in a combo, they just put him in the bounce state on the ground.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so you key charge there, and then when they get back up, that's when you deal with it. But the problem with that is like it was never guaranteed because in Tekken you're not forced up. You can do a get up kick, you can do a side roll, you can take one hit on the ground, and then you're up before the key charge can hit you again, right? There's choices for the defensive player, and they said like, we'll just delete the mechanic. Players won't be able to figure that out, even though they all are. What?
So
you can just nerf 2 moves, bro.
Originally, when you heat burst someone out of the air and they bounced, like now they get up. That's part of that whole get up automatically.
No, that's not.
Oh, okay,
that is still exactly the same.
Okay, gotcha. So, I mean, for you personally, just as a fan of Tekken and stuff, what would you like to actually see at this point? I mean, would you rather them just go back to season 1 and start from there, or just keep trying to fix it from where they're at this point?
Man. Trying to keep my job, James.
Okay, you know what?
Well, here's how it goes, though. So, like, BDX made a tweet, right? And he tweeted out that he thinks they should revert the patch. And I responded to him and I said, like, dude, that's such a big change. I cannot imagine any development team reverting a patch of this size, right? It's 1,500 changes. Right, like actually 1,500 changes in the patch.
I didn't realize that.
Right?
Okay, yeah. Okay.
It's a massive patch, and there's like a bunch of new moves per character, a bunch of new combo extensions, which makes the combos even longer and crazier than they were in the past. So it's a massive patch, and if they revert it, that's kind of like saying, all right, we hear you, we effed up this one, but let's try to take a different approach. And I cannot imagine them saying that. I've been thinking long and hard about this actually because it's been a while now. Like, I didn't do a podcast of my own about this whole topic because we were all like, I think, depressed. But basically, my thought on it, at first I thought was like reverting is terrible. You shouldn't do it. You should just move forward because that's what I expect them to do. I expect them to move forward and refine what they've given us now, right? That's what they've always done historically. But this is the first time I feel like they should revert it, which is crazy.
Okay.
It's actually crazy, right? And it goes back to what I was saying before. It's like they've added all these new moves that have incredible range, and on top of the range, additional properties, and like relatively safe on block, right? Like those things together are not Tekken moves to me, right? And like, yes, I'm a boomer, yes, I'm old, but if that is what Tekken is, then Tekken is not the same anymore, which is fine. But realize, like, all the people that are upset right now, they're going to continue to be upset because when Tekken puts in moves like this and they patch it later, they don't really nerf the crap out of it and make it garbage. It takes them a long time. It's like it takes like over a year or two of refinement to make those moves like normalized back to Tekken values. So I'm thinking of it from that standpoint where it's like, if you do not revert this and you just try to refine these moves to make them more fair, right? Like, you look at what they've done with Clive, most of the long range stuff is still there. I don't think they want that to go away. So now that they've done that to more characters, I don't see that going away. And if that's the case, all of those negative reviews you got on Steam, those guys are still going to be pissed. So this is, like I said, the first time I've actually felt like maybe reverting is the answer. Like, it's so bizarre. Like, I don't imagine they will do it. But if they did it, I feel like everyone would be like, these are the best developers ever, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that's crazy about that is that so many of these guys who are leaving the bad reviews now did not like season 1, right? And they were the ones who were hopeful that season 2 was going to be like their savior. All they need to do is just refine this a little bit more, and we got Tekken back. Like full what we want, even though it's still going to have the heat system and aggression and chip and everything. And instead, it was just like they said it. It made us believe we were going to get all that, and then just kidding. It's like, oh no. So everyone's upset. Everyone's really fed up, and they've lost a lot of trust, to be honest. I think because it was a little unfortunate timing, right? They had the Evo FGC video where they talked about improving defense and everything. Next day they have the Tekken talk, and everyone's like, "What the hell is that thing?" And then they said, like, "Wait, you haven't played it yet, though. Just wait and play it." Like, how can you know it's garbage unless you played it?
Right.
We're like, you just told us everything about it. And then the patch notes come out, and now it's like, well,
and now played
what,
it,
right?
And now they played it,
right?
And now they can say it's garbage, right?
and so the problem is, right? If you're the Tekken devs, how can you even do a Tekken talk now? Because whatever you say doesn't matter because everyone's gonna say, oh, remember they said this and that to us, and look what we got before, right? So they've basically like burnt all the trust they've built up over these last few years of interacting with the community, which is like just terrible.
Right. Oh man.
Yeah, it's brutal.
So I mean, do you feel like though that 2 years down the line, you'll all look back at this and laugh, kind of thing,
Honestly, man. I wish I had a coin in my hand right now. It's kind of the state of things. It's very applicable to Tekken 8 Season 2 and the future of Tekken 8. It's kind of just a coin flip. It's just whether or not they change it in the way that people want or whether the community is going to stay outraged forever. This is, what was it? It was last year, I think, during the end of the Tekken World Tour Finals, where there was some controversy over this kid from China who tried to play in the tour, and they're like, oh, China's not allowed, so they disqualified him before the top 8, and then a bunch of people, they review bombed Tekken on Steam, and they got a bunch of negative reviews, right? And like almost immediately they responded, and they were like, yo, man, we're going to try to fix this for next year. Like, our bad, we're going to fly him out to TWT Finals, we're going to make this okay. So the reviews really seem to light a fire in them to get something done, right?
Right, okay.
This, though, is another level of reviews. I've never seen anything like this. And, when people say review bombing, it's usually the case of like, oh, man, that person said something political, so F them, just negative reviews because they said something like that, unrelated to the game. This time, if you go through those Steam reviews and you read the negative reviews, they're all talking about the game. Like, that's way, way worse, And now, if you're like a casual player and you're like, maybe I should pick up this Tekken 8 game, you go on Steam, you look at the reviews, like overwhelmingly negative. I wonder why everyone thinks that, you know, and then like
Right.
maybe I shouldn't purchase it, right? That's gonna hurt so much. So
Because I
they
mean, normally
need to do something to make
like,
everyone happy.
Normally, if you go see like a game that's like negatively review bombed, and you go look at the reviews and they're complaining about something political, you're like, okay, well maybe the game is still fine, but this one is literally them complaining about the game, right?
Yeah, and like on my, I didn't even realize this, but the other day I was streaming. It was yesterday actually, and when you have a game like on your Steam page, you click on it, it shows you your friends' reviews, like right there below. And I got to like my friends list is full, right? So I'm just looking through. They're all thumbs down. And I just start reading them, right? Because they're just kind of some of them are kind of funny. But like I'm looking at it right now. One of them says 2.0 patch bad. You know, like this guy has 977 hours played at the time. You know, like these are not guys who have played a little bit. Another one's like a pro player, 2,193 hours, and it's like 3 paragraphs. You know, about like whatever the state of the game is. But like 2,000 hours, bro. Like these are not just casuals that are like, bro, this didn't hit the mark for me. You know, it's across the board on like all levels of skill, which is the craziest thing. Like usually if you see something like this, it's just the top guy, just the pros are complaining. Right. It's not the balance they want. Their character got nerfed or something. But this is like everybody, man. Pros, casuals, anywhere in between. Everyone's not happy with it.
Man, I just feel like if Street Fighter 6 Season 3 comes out and throw loops are still in there, you know, we're gonna see part 2 of this, you know, kind of situation.
Yes,
so
I've seen that analogy so many times, right? Like people like, hey, Tekken players, you're welcome to Street Fighter 6, and they show you a throw loop setup, you know?
Right.
And like honestly, that's better.
Really?
It's like imagine if Drive Rush was full screen, you know, and you couldn't react to it. Like that. Imagine that was a chance for Street Fighter. Like, yeah, we're gonna make Drive Rush go twice as fast and twice as far, you know. And DI, yeah, that's gonna be twice as fast too. You know, like what? Like so you don't want me to react at all. You just want me to totally guess if it's gonna be a DI. Okay, like that's the kind of change that you're dealing with here now.
Okay.
So it's like, what in the hell, dude? Like, why? You know, and so it's frustrating. It's frustrating at all levels. Man. I was talking to Maximilian about it actually, because he put out a great video. If you guys haven't seen it, go check out Maximilian's video where he really talked about his thoughts on it. And he described it as like, you know, I think he put out a tweet about this where he showed like an ice cream sundae. And it's like, all right, fine, let's just maybe take off so many sprinkles and we got Tekken, like it's gonna be sick, right? And instead they have like 4 more scoops of ice cream, like filled with whipped cream, full of cherries and bananas and sprinkles and everything on top, right? Like, all right, that's a lot more Tekken 8 than I expected to. You know, I thought that we're going the opposite way. So yeah, it's really good. And he also, the thing that Max mentioned that was really good was he said in Tekken, like you used to like be able to play the game, and then at some point you get to a point where you're playing against the player, not the character. But nowadays when you play Tekken 8 Season 2, you're playing against the character, and it takes forever to get to the player because they're just doing like, I'm gonna run my character bullshit. And that's what everyone's doing essentially. That's what the game is now designed to do for you.
Yeah, because it's interesting. I mean, one of the things that a lot of people probably don't realize as much, and we've seen this throughout the years of Tekken 7, is that, you know, one of the things about Tekken, at least, again, this is my interpretation of it, is that, you know, most of the situations, most characters have an answer to that. And so a lot of the times when you're playing, if you're good and you're smart, like, you can win with even bad characters, right? I mean, the time that Rangchu won with the bear, you know, the first time in Tekken 7, like the bear was like actually bad, right? Like if I'm not mistaken, right? But you know, he's just a good player and you have the solutions. And so if you know the opponent's gonna do this, you know, obviously you're missing a few things here and there, but nothing too egregious. But yeah, now it just feels like, you know, that's kind of not the situation anymore. Now it just feels like you're just kind of forced to, I mean, like one of the things like I couldn't get used to when I was trying to learn it for the Sajam Slam, like, you know, they like use the heat, you know, the heat dash more and get the free 50-50, and I was like, wait, what? Like it just didn't process in my head, you know.
It's so not a Tekken thing, and like, you know, just historically with Bandai Namco and 3D fighters, it feels like anytime they add a resource, it's a bad move. They're just not really good at managing resources and also having a 3D fighter at the same time. So I just say, abandon the resources, bro. Like Tekken was fine without resources. You added meters for like Geese and Akuma and stuff, and like they were acceptable because they were guest characters that had meter systems. And even though they were characters that had meter systems in other games, in Tekken those meter systems were never well balanced still. You know, like for a while, right? And even after they rebalanced it, they were still good enough. So it's kind of crazy that, I mean, they're this. It's not surprising that they're this inexperienced with meter systems, right? Because their games don't really use them in that way. But it just really feels like a way that they're trying to shoehorn something that in there that doesn't really belong or is not necessarily needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's strange.
I mean, it's interesting that you say that too, because like I've always said in Street Fighter 6, like currently right now, obviously they buffed Kimberly, so she's a little bit better now, but they didn't do it through her can resource. But like if you look at some of the lowest tiered characters, it's Manon, who has the medals, Jamie, who has the drinking, and Lily, who has the wind charge thing. And I've always said it's because, you know, Capcom's not good at those kind of resource management stuff, because they've never had characters like that until Juri and Ibuki in 5, but you know, up until now. So like they're not quite there with that strategy either, not like Guilty Gear guys, you know. And so sounds like Tekken's the same.
It's interesting you brought that up too, because now in Tekken 8 Season 2, more characters have installs like that.
Oh.
You know, like before it was like Claudia with Starburst originally, right? And they added Eddie to have it. Now Zafina's got it. Now June's got it. It just definitely seems like a direction they want to take the game, where everyone's going to have an install. Everyone's going to have range 3 or 4 moves that are safe and counter it, and all these other random mechanics, low crushing, whatever. It's just like, is that even? I mean, it's not the Tekken I grew up with. You know, that's for sure. And like, obviously, I'm evolving with Tekken, right? I'm constantly evolving,
right?
But at some point, you're going to lose what made Tekken, right? And honestly, there's a lot of talk of people like, oh, you know, they merged the Soul Calibur team into the Tekken team, and that long range move thing, that to me feels much more Soul Calibur.
Yeah,
right.
Dude,
like,
I was just about to say that. I was like, it sounds like they're turning it into Soul Calibur with the like Siegfried like swiping at the sky, but I mean, you could always crouch those and punish, right? And because you had equal range, you could punish those things in Soul Calibur. But it sounds like that's not quite the case here in Tekken, right?
And they're trying to like expand every character's moveset to have longer reaching moves now. It's like Law got a nunchuck attack that's super far and like goes high, whatever, you know. They gave Anna like forward 4-2. She swings her bazooka. You know, Anna swings a bazooka like it's a nightmare sword. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what Tekken is doing now.
Interesting.
And it's like, okay, that's something, but is that Tekken?
Right.
You know, like it's something. Yeah.
Yeah, because Tekken, I mean, even prior to 7, Tekken was always much more of an in-your-face, close-up game. The Oki was scary. People have been pointing out that even Tekken 7 is kind of an anomaly because people just stayed away a lot and just kind of like tried something and then going back and then tried something and went back. But like previously, Tekken was almost always just kind of like that distance one kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. And that seems to be the case. Like, to me, the funnest Tekken was that in-and-out battle, small interaction, side-step interaction, and then this is dangerous, right? Once you're this close, so it's like, all right, we got to get the hell out of here, right? Let's get back. No, out here you're relatively safe, like you're planning your attack. But then nowadays it's like, whatever, bro. This out here, that's dangerous. You know, like you're never safe. This guy's gonna do some bullshit, and then you're in 50-50 land. Feels like that's the feeling you get when playing it.
Oh man. Okay. So I mean, one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on here is, you know, obviously I've been seeing how upset everybody is, and you know, some people I still see, you know, occasionally the comments out there that are like, oh, they're just overreacting. Oh, they'll get used to it and it won't be so bad. But you know, I wanted to get like a veteran, like a person here who really understands it, to be able to explain it. And it definitely sounds like it, you know, this is not more than just, hey, this is a bad balanced patch. I mean, we've all had patches that have come out and they're like, what are you doing? Like, this character's too strong, this character's too weak. But it really does feel like they're just kind of like taking away the essence of what you guys are used to. So, I mean, I guess one last little, you know, devil's advocate-y kind of question, you know, like, for example, a lot of people hate Strive. You know, a lot of the old school players dislike Strive. They're like, this doesn't feel like Guilty Gear anymore. But Daisuke has literally said, like, look, I'm just trying to make a game that has no legacy. I'm trying to make it so that legacy players have a hard time. You know, they just can't come in and be like, here's the mix-up I've been doing for 20 years, you know, kind of thing. And, you know, Strive's got gotten a lot more players, and it's very successful. Many years in a row of over 2,000 people at Evo and stuff. So like, do you feel like maybe that's what they're trying to do, trying to make a kind of like actually kind of like a break from what it was, so that it isn't about the legacy anymore, or does it not even have that feel?
It's really weird, honestly. It feels like they want to do both. It feels like they want to appeal to the veterans and that they want to push to a new audience at the same time. Because the stuff that they added, like the sidestep change, like out of crouch especially, like, that kind of helps new players. You have to think about it less. And now you have a buffered sidestep, so it's easy to get into. So they're simplifying the game in that way, right? Everything is more accessible. But at the same time, like when a new player has to deal with all these new moves, with all these properties, they're going to get owned. Like, when you're the one pressing the buttons, you feel good. But as soon as you have to block that, you hate the game. So it doesn't. That's why it's like across all skill levels, it's not working, right? It's like the pros don't want to deal with it on defense. The new players don't want to deal with it on defense either. So it's like, all right, well, who are you helping here? Like, no one's happy with this. And it's like, okay, if the developers had come out and said, look, all you legacy players, we know the Tekken you want, but that's not the Tekken we want to make anymore. We want this new approach, and this is how it's going to be. And I think a lot of people were like, all right, cool, man. Let's go boot up some of the game, like Tekken 7 now.
Right,
Then at least we know, right? But instead they were like, we heard what you guys said. Heat has been too oppressive, too much chip damage. We want better defensive options. We got you covered. Season 2,
I mean, because like one of the things that I've always said that was like, to me, one of the most remarkable decisions that I feel like any dev company has ever made for fighting games was when ArcSys, because like Daisuke was like, well, look, if you don't like Strive, you can always play the old game, and a lot of people were like, yeah, but the problem is, and then they actually went and put rollback in Exert, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you mean it. Like, you mean it. Like, we can
go
go back
back
and
to
play
the
the
old
old
game,
games. Yeah. And that doesn't
But they
sound...
did that pretty late, too, right? Like, imagine if the Exert rollback came out the same day as Strive.
Right, yeah, dude.
I don't know what would have happened there.
Oh, man. Yeah. So, okay. So, I mean... What's the hope at this point? Obviously the emergency patch comes out. They'll fix a couple of things, maybe take away the throw tech chip. But I mean, it does sound very much like most of the Tekken community is pretty pessimistic right now, right? So
and I honestly cannot blame them for being pessimistic just because of how things have gone here. A lot of people are like, dude, we already told them, like, Spag is a good example because he's like, dude, be constructive with your criticism, right?
Right,
like,
yes.
And he said that, and I was like, man, you're right. These devs are getting dunked on. Let me make a constructive post. So I wrote up like a whole ass tweet that was like a mile long. I never do that, but I was like, man, I didn't do this in season 1. Maybe I should have, because I am like a prominent figure, right? So I wrote it up, and I was like, and I didn't say anything that was like groundbreaking. It was just like, this is what everyone's complaining about, and I agree with all these things, right? And that's all it was. But then a lot of people like agreeing with me, and like people who hate me are like, yeah, dude, you're right. I'm like, all right, cool. Like everyone is bonding over this now.
Wow.
But at the same time, it just shows like no one has faith in the developers to do that. Because like I said, I didn't say anything groundbreaking, right? So that constructive criticism I gave is the same criticism they heard throughout season 1.
Right.
And then it's what they told us they were going to address going into season 2. So that's why everyone's so pessimistic, because they already told us they knew what the issues were, and then they gave us something that was the opposite after they told us what they knew. So I was like, how can you know that and then give us this? And that's where I think the disconnect happens, and I think that's why everyone's so confused. Because if you ask anybody, how did this happen? Everyone is confused.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
There's no way you can say, like, oh, well, clearly they said they were going to do this and then did that, so obviously we don't know shit.
Right.
Like,
it just feels like there wasn't, like, somewhere the communication got lost, right? Like, yeah.
that was a very nice way of phrasing it, because the way, I'll tell you, the way I see other people on the internet phrasing it, not my words, but they're saying that the devs lied to us, and like when you look at that, you're like, did they lie though? Because they gave you the sidestep change. That's a defensive change, right?
Yeah.
They made you auto back roll, which ended up being a flop, but it was a defensive change, so I don't know. It's like their mind of what they thought were the good things you wanted did not make sense with all the character changes they rolled out. Like for the system change they were giving, it made sense. They didn't really lie. But the character changes are crazy in comparison to the system changes. It's absolutely wild.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, I guess the last thing that I really actually want to say is that, you know, obviously both you and I know this very well. Like, it is tough to be kind of in the position that we're in and try to be very critical of the games that we love. And a lot of times when we are critical about it is because we legit love the game. I mean, people know all my tweets raging about drive impacts out there, you know, because they murdered me. I never said they were a bad mechanic. They just murdered me, okay?
Every time I see a James Chen drive impacting, I'm like, man, James is getting old. Like, those reactions are gone, bro.
Yeah,
like,
dude, it's, oh God, it's a pain. But I mean, at the same time, like, I have never shied from saying, like, this is how I would nerf drive rush. This is how I would nerf, like, yeah, I think throw loops should go away, etc., you know. But it is a tough position for us to be in, you know, because at the same time, we understand that we have influence. And it's not that we're trying to sugarcoat what we say, you know, about these games or anything like that. But it's more like, you know, we don't want to rile everybody up into hating these games because we still love these games and we just want them to get better, legit, right? Like it's a tough kind of tightrope to walk in a lot of ways. So
it's insane to walk. Like right now, there's this, I don't even know what to call it, but there's like a boycott Tekken 8 petition thing going on, right?
What the?
Like people. There's like 5,000 names signed on there, but the thing about it is anyone can put anyone's name on there. So it's like you don't even know how real it is, right? But because of that, I'm streaming Tekken last night, and like multiple people came in and they were like, "Dude, don't you know there's a boycott?" I'm like, "Okay, I want to play though." Like this patch, as bad as it is, I will always find fun in Tekken. Like, I played Just Frame James last night, who I played since 2007 or whatever.
Right.
But I beat his ass with Jack last night. That was so fun for me, you know, because I knew he couldn't deal with that shit.
Right.
That's fun to me, beating my friends up. But then as soon as I played against a Jack online, I was like, I'm turning this shit off, you know? Like,
Right.
so, like, it wasn't fun for me at that point.
Right.
But, like, I think you need to see it. And honestly, the reason I'm playing it still, right, is because I'm still going to be commentating events. Like coming up this month, I'll be at Level Up Expo.
Right.
The following week, I'll be at PAX, I think, or 2 weeks later, whatever it is. So I still have to know things about the game, right? So I'm still going to play the game. The other thing about it, there's so much to learn. There's 1,500 changes in this patch.
Right.
So if I don't play it, even though I've like looked at a bunch of Twitter clips, I don't know like 50% of this patch still. But I've seen 50% that I'm like not happy with, you know? Like I'm like, that's not good. So I don't even want to know about the other 50%, but I got to learn it at some point, right?
Yeah.
So like, you know, I started picking up Anna's a new character, right? I want to know what she's capable of without just, you know, watching someone else play forever, because that's gonna be hard to find, right? So yeah, I think, you know, stop bothering people. If you guys are on that boycott list, good for you. You know, you did your part, whatever, but don't go around telling other people what to do, man. Like, you know, it's their own life. They can do whatever they want.
And also, I mean, going back to, like you said, what Spag said, it's just like, please be constructive, because there's just so many people who are like, you should just do this, or you guys are idiots, and blah, blah, blah. And that's, I mean, again, you know, to talk about it from, you know, Michael Murray's side or even Harada's side and such like that. I mean, like, to you guys, it's like you're saying something mean to them and you're like, you know, you should be able to deal with it in the position that you're at, whatever. But like, dude, we're all humans, and like literally you don't realize that they are getting this shit from like every social platform they're on and like from every direction. And it does, I mean, I've always said, like, if you have a BB gun and you shot at an armor, if you shot the same place, like, you know, enough times, you're breaking through that armor, right? Like, it's going to happen. So
I mean, you've been on the internet for a long time. I've been on the internet for a long time. We're commentators, so from back in the day when everyone was like way more rude to commentators on the internet, right? We have very thick skin at this point compared to, like, you know, developers and most of these companies, basically, right?
Yeah.
So we, being like in the positions we've been in, we have been exposed to like the worst of the internet. But in this kind of an instance where something this bad happens, I can't even imagine what it's like for them. Because like in this instance, people are DMing me. I posted a freaking Instagram story of a McDonald's strawberry banana shake, and somebody replied to that and said like, "Rip, I don't like these Dragunov changes, man." I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like, strawberry banana McDonald's shake, dog. Like, what the hell? What are you talking to me for?
Oh,
you know?
my God.
And then like, someone else DM me on Twitter, and they were just like, Rip, you gotta do something, man. I'm like, what does that mean, dude? Who do you think I am?
Dude, I do all the time. People are like, James, you need to get this fixed. And I'm like, dude, what makes you think they listen to me?
If they listen to me, we wouldn't be having this conversation, bro.
Right.
You know, like, come on.
Man. Yeah, that's actually a really good question. Is the Japanese community equally as frustrated and upset, or do we know? Okay,
They are.
They are. Okay.
They are. Yeah, I mean, like, they're just, you know, across the planet, there are people that are more calm about this and more optimistic, and there are people that are more upset and more frustrated, right? So I saw, like, Nobi, who is this historic Dragunov player. He's, like, one of the best.
Right.
First Tekken 7 Evo champion back in 2015, right? This guy, Nobi, he doesn't really get mad at things. He's, like, really easygoing guy, and he's just, like, losing his mind over the Dragunov changes, right? And the thing is, there's a move Dragunov has is the backswing blow, okay?
Oh,
he evades out of the way and he comes back and he launches you, right?
Right, yes.
That was the Nobi special. He was known for that. It no longer launches. But, like, no one was complaining about that. No one on the planet was like, oh, this Dragunov freaking backswing blow. You know, like, why did you take that one out? You know, like,
right,
you yeah. So many other ways. But why take the thing that makes Dragunov Dragunov? You know, like, everyone identifies as, like, a super cool Dragunov thing to hit. And if you hit it, you're as good as Nobi. If you block it, he's launched. It's not unsafe. It's, you know what I mean? It's not that crazy. Compared to all the other shit you put in the game where it's like, this has range 7 and it's a counter hit, homing, fucking, you know, low crochet hit or whatever.
Dude,
I'm like, what?
That's the move that I complain about all the time because that's when he backswings and he elbows you and launches you, right? Yeah. So when I was learning the game during that rage clip that I have, right, people were like, you can launch punish the elbow. And I'm like, what elbow? I've never seen an elbow. And like, people are like, it's that elbow. And I'm so bad at like seeing details of moves, so I like never noticed it. But I mean, again, I'm gonna make the same thing like Fei Long in Super Turbo. Every Fei Long's favorite combo is doing chicken wing, stand fierce, rekka, 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 because that's like a 1 to 2 frame link or something, and it feels so good because you just drain like all their health. And like I always called that like the Fei Long player's orgasm combo, because like whenever you land it, you're just like, fuck yeah, let's go, kind of a thing. And so, again, in HDR, when they buffed the dragon, you know, the chicken wing move, in order to make it fair, they took away that combo. And I was like, don't buff this and take that away. Like, people loved it. This is fun. This is what people like. And, oh, God. Yeah. Hey, this is what I'm saying. This feels like the HDR.
It feels like it. Yeah, no, I see it. I'm trying to vibe with it. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm getting it.
Man.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in this patch too. So there's like that kind of stuff, system stuff, and just, I mean, the thing that separates this patch from other games patches to me is just that system-wise, it feels like you're playing a different game because of the pressure you're under now. And so I feel like those other games, they need like, you know, HDR needed Drive Rush, you know, like adding Drive Rush to HDR. And now you're talking about Season 2 of Tekken. That's what it feels like.
Right. Oh, man. Okay. Well, thank you. I mean, unless you have any other, like, last thoughts on this, I know this could go on forever. Like, you could probably, like...
There's a lot.
Yeah. But
I'll say this. You know, there's obviously people who think that it should be reverted. I don't think they're going to revert it. But it's not the final patch, right? The game is going to continue to change. This emergency patch coming up, it's probably not going to address everything because there's too much, right? So I expect there to be like a patch a month, probably for the next 3 months or something, right? Like I think they need to hammer this out as soon as possible because they have, I think, 3 master events in May, right? So
when does the Tekken World Tour start, right? That's another question. Oh, wow. So it's almost the same situation as Street Fighter right now, kind of, except now people are worried about the new patch, whereas everyone in Street Fighter is worried about a patch, right? Like,
the old patch. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, in Tekken's case, this game now, because of them adding so much to it, so much that's imbalanced as well, it's going to require multiple patches. So we know this is not the final patch. The game will change. It's hard for them to make it worse than this, so it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better, you know. Like you can only, I hope, bro. Like, you can only go up.
Well,
so yeah.
here's another question for you, just because you brought this up and it kind of made me realize it. So a lot of people, and Harada himself has brought this up, is that, Tekken 7 had that arcade period of time before it finally came to home. Like, would you say, like the start of year 2 for Tekken 7 in the arcade was equally kind of as a like volatile, like what the hell is going on? Or did you not play that one enough because it was only in Japan? Oh, you did? Okay, no. Okay.
I played. So here's the thing, right? If you want to talk about the arcade releases and how all those things apply, you got to go back to Tekken 5. Okay, so in Tekken 5, 5.0 was one of the most broken, maybe still the most broken Tekken of all time, right? And the thing is, that was my first competitive Tekken, so I loved it. Like, I learned all the broken stuff. I learned how to deal with all the broken stuff. And yeah, it was not fair, right? But what they did was, that was an arcade release. It actually came out on PS2, that version, which is amazing. And then in the arcade, they updated it to Tekken 5.1, where they took out half of the Okuzemi out of the game, and everything was like so bland that it wasn't fun anymore. It's like, okay, it's the same game, all the characters, everything's bland now, and they took out all the crazy damaging things and everything, but it wasn't fun. And then they refined that, and it became Tekken 5 DR, which people look at as one of like the best Tekkens of all time. Okay, so that arcade period kind of went like broken Tekken 5.0 into like, okay, weird state, into Tekken DR, which is the fully polished version, right? And they did the kind of same thing in Tekken 6.0 to Tekken 6 Bloodline Rebellion, Tekken Tag 2, Tekken Tag 2 Unlimited, console version, similar process. Tekken 7, similar process, arcade version, kind of boring. There were still some very broken things they had in it. And then FR comes out, broken Akuma, but everything else is looking better, the game's feeling better. Console version more polished, but the netcode wasn't good, and they fixed that over time, right?
Right.
So everything is continually getting better. Somehow with Tekken 8, they didn't have an arcade release, so we thought this is going to be a disaster. Because all these kids who play the console version, they've never experienced the 5.0, the 6.0, the original Tekken. They don't know what it's going to be like. Betas come out for Tekken 8, and it wasn't too bad. They had like double heat dash and stuff, but like it went away really quick. And then Tekken 8 Season 1 comes out, and it was like a little bit weird, but like not crazy. We're like, okay, there's some stuff you can fix here still. But overall, like, there was none of the game-breaking things. There was nothing like on block you get guaranteed damage after and stuff. Like it was just working. We're like, you kind of did okay here. Good job, Namco. You did it. And then we'd all thought, okay, fine. They did a decent enough job. Now when Season 2 comes out, we're gonna get our DR version, our BR version, our Tekken 7 FR version. We're gonna get the polished version of that. And somehow, instead of going to that version, we've gone back to the 0.0 version. So it's like it's kind of like we were in Tekken 5.1, and instead of going to DR, we went to 5.0 again. It's like, how did you go that far backwards? Like, you guys were at the finish line. You just got to polish it a little bit, and everyone would have been very happy with the product. So it was like they were so close. And this is another reason I feel like I know reverting's crazy, right? But revert and polish is so much closer to everyone being happy than the other way around.
Gotcha. I mean, in terms of like, obviously, like you said, 1,500 changes, holy crap. But I mean, like, in terms of like not the new moves or like not the system mechanics or anything like that, but a lot of things that people didn't like in Season 1 that were too powerful, did most of the balance, like, are a lot of the balance changes like, okay, that's cool, like, we're glad you fixed that? Or does that not even feel that? Did it feel, because I mean, no. So there have been old games like where it just feels like when they come out with a patch, like they weren't listening to what people wanted at all. Like that's happened in Street Fighter a bunch of times, like that's kind of what it feels like.
They like some of the top, like Dragunov got nerfed, right? Like there's a couple of characters that were at the top that people looked at that got nerfed, but the overall sentiment was not about those couple of characters. It was about the entire feeling that the game gave you when playing it, and that feeling is multiplied now in Season 2. It's like, yeah, you nerfed those characters, but that wasn't the major problem. Like I don't know if they just didn't see that or what the case is here, but. It's very strange because I don't know who they're trying to cater to.
Right.
And honestly, like, if you're looking at feedback, right, like you might say like, oh, we have to kind of address our patches based off of like everybody, not just the pro players, right? Like the way to make everyone happy, in my opinion, is just address the pro players, because the pro players are going to say something. The content creators are going to listen to the pro players. They're not going to go against them, right? If Nia and Arslan came out and said like, bro, Nina is broken. There's no big content creator that's going to come out and say like, Nina sucks, right? Like, you're going to look like a moron as a content creator, right? And then those content creators, their opinion is going to get repeated by the masses, right?
Yeah.
So all you have to do as a developer is listen to the top players, because that's what gets filtered to everybody.
Right.
Right. And I think, like, honestly, in Tekken 8 Season 1, it was the most I've ever seen top players very vocal on Twitter. So I feel like it was so easy. It was like, it's like this is alley-oop to you, Namco. You just take what all the pros are saying, and then you do that, and then all the content creators are like, yo, yeah, the pro players are happy. We're all happy. All the casual market's happy. Like, I feel like that just filters down, right?
It's crazy how much that this is true, though. I mean, even in any game, every time you see the top players complain about something, you will see a lot of the chat now all of a sudden kind of repeating that, like they'll be like, I mean, when Street Fighter 4, like, Street Fighter 4, I felt like a lot of this happened, right? Like someone will complain about like one frame links, and then all of a sudden everybody's complaining about one frame links, it's like, it's crazy how that happens. But yeah, I mean, it is weird, though, because it is a very hard thing to balance, right? Like, how do you balance, for the masses and then for the top players? Because Street Fighter 6, Zangief is always my favorite example, right? Like, in Season 1, he was terrible, but he had a 65% win rate online at, like, Bronze and Rookie, right? Like, so if you buff Zangief, it's just going to make everyone's life more miserable. But, like, it's tough because you have to find the changes that are accessible to better players than the changes that are accessible by everyone. And it does make balancing kind of weird, and it is very hard. But yeah, I mean, in this case, it feels like they really, really need to look at something here. So
they need to look at something else. Whatever they looked at to make this patch clearly was not right. Or it's like whoever made the decisions here, that person doesn't have their pulse of the community, right? Like, clearly, there has to be some kind of accountability to say, like, how did this happen so that it doesn't happen again, right? I think that's all it really is.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'm sure you can go on about this for, even more hours.
Fun topic. I haven't, like I said, I didn't do a podcast. It's my first time talking about it like with someone. It's been cool.
I mean, look, I'm down to keep going if there's more stuff that you want to talk about,
Oh, man. I don't know. I feel like we kind of hit everything, though, right? Like chat, real quick, chat. Did I forget anything else to talk about here? I think I nailed all the big topics. And I think, the big takeaway for me is still that the game is going to continue to get patched, right? So it should get better. The display stuff, they added a bunch of features, like they show like counter now, combo counter.
Wait, in the game. Oh, in the verses. Oh, that's
yeah. While you're playing with people, you can see that now.
Because I mean, isn't that
very not Tekken-like? Yeah.
Yeah, but isn't that like one of the skills, like I've talked about this on Virtua Fighter as well. It's, one of the skills is recognizing when the hit spark was a different color for counter hit, or recognizing when you can get combos and stuff like that. And a lot of people have said like, oh, if you add the counter stuff on the screen, it'll dumb it down or something like that. But are pro players not frustrated or upset about that or anything? Or is it pretty normal?
It feels like there's a little bit of a delay on the text prompt coming up.
Okay, yeah.
So, like, at first we had the concern, like, oh, are you going to be able to counter it confirm off of this, text prompt? That doesn't seem to be the case. But, like, maybe on, like, 3-hit strings, you might have enough time to see it pop and, like, recognize it. But overall, I think people are just more upset that it even shows you the number of hits. Because it's like, oh, 5-hit combo, sick. I counted 5. It's not like a game like Marvel where it's like 98-hit combo. It's like 7, 9. Woo!
Because honestly, I had said that too. The fact that you said that there's a little delay, I was like, it's so easy to fix that because just.
I think that's intentional. I think that was intentionally designed to have delay. Yeah.
So I've suggested that a long time ago. I'll just pretend that they heard me and they stole my idea. So
James' fault. Everyone hates it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, because the tricky thing is, honestly, now is that I've said this, and I've had people, argue against me because I'm saying like modern fighting games are getting very, very aggressive and very offensive, and I feel like a lot of that really is because of the esports era that we're in now. Like, they're trying to make things more enjoyable to watch, right? And I brought up like old NRS games, like back in the day for Injustice 1, it was funny to watch Ares kill everybody with what's his name, Deadshot or whatever it was.
Oh,
right?
was that his name? Deadshot?
I think the Injustice. I don't remember now. Deathstroke. Okay, and like it was funny back then, but like nowadays, like we can't really do that as much. Like people even when we had the throwback game of UMVC3 at Evo, a lot of the chat was like, "This is the game people like." Like it's just zero incoming mix-ups, and they're just like. So I feel like a lot of these changes are being made for that reason. But so I like having more information on the screen. Like I've always been supportive of having counter hit, and I even still think in Tekken and in Virtua Fighter, like if you don't break a throw, they should just show you which direction you should have broken it. Because like I get thrown all the time in Tekken, and I just yell at my chat. I'm like, which way am I supposed to break this? And I have no idea, kind of thing. So
I actually kind of agree with you. So like, for me, when I'm playing ranked at home, I wish I could have the frame data on. Like, I wish I could just know. Because, like, for me, ranked is not a serious mode. Like, I know there's ranks associated with it, but it's not like you're playing for $1 bajillion or anything, right? Like, just let me practice so I can learn faster that way, right?
Yeah.
That way, if I do enter an online tournament, like, then you have to be in a public lobby or something, like, have the option to disable frame data in there, right? That way, you can't use it in a tournament, but your knowledge is there from all the practice and ranked. So for me, that would be, like, such a cool learning tool. And, like, this when it says punish now, like I know like, oh, that was a punish that time. I know that's -12 at least now, so that kind of thing helps, but it's not like the full deal, right? So that's just what I want.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, maybe don't even put it on ranked, but have it in all the other modes online, right? Like the practice mode or just, friend lobbies and stuff like that might actually even be able to help. And heck, maybe if you play on ranked, you know how there's always the deathmatch situation where two people fight each other forever. Can you do that in Tekken 8? You can still do that, right?
No, I don't think they can. I think maybe if you go to like a casual match or something, then you can set it up that way. But I don't think you can do it just like in a ranked system.
Because I remember in 7, you could just fight someone on ranked until
forever,
until whenever. Yeah. And I was thinking like maybe after 2 games, like the frame data shows up or something. But like because
that'd be kind of cool actually.
Because that means like literally the 2 players are agreeing to try to learn the match, so the game will be like, okay, here you go, kind of a thing. But. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like a lot of that stuff should happen. And so, like I said, that's cool to me that Tekken's putting all that information on the screen. It's also easier for the commentators because, I mean, sometimes, like, obviously with high input buffers, like, that was a launch punish, whatever. But there's some situations where you're like, wait, why did he get hit by that? Like it looked late. Did he press a button? And now you'll see the information. It helps the commentators, but that also means it helps the viewers as well. Like having punish counters in Street Fighter 6 now, I don't ever have to be like, wait, was that punish? Did he do that in time? Or did he just get, now I know, and it makes it a lot easier. So I like having that information, but at the same time, I feel like, it is pushing a lot of these devs to try to make these games so aggressive, like so you don't have the zoning, you don't have the turtling, you don't have the slow play. I mean, that feels like that's what Heat Mechanic was designed for, is aggression, like they promoted so much. So I mean, obviously Tekken is your main game, but does that feel kind of like what's been happening in your eyes in fighting games as well?
Well, I mean, I'm thinking, the other game I played a lot of lately has been Mortal Kombat 1. And I don't think that game is as aggro. It's more mix-up based, right? It's more heavy mix-up. Mortal Kombat's been that way for a while, though. So I don't feel like they went super aggro route. Obviously, they tried the cameo thing, which is like more of a 2v2 tag fighter assist kind of base. It's very different as a departure as well, but I don't feel like they really fell into that trap of like trying to make things super aggro. I think they kind of took their guns on it. And I feel like the community in that game is actually growing again. They have the new pro competition and everything going on. So it seems like their player base is a lot happier than they were in the past.
That's good. That's good. I mean, yeah, because I mean, I know when it first came out, especially because I think just a lot of people weren't used to it, right? I mean, like I saw some people like, you know, cameos are dumb. They make unsafe moves safe, and you're just like, well, that's assist games, like that's the way it's always been. So you know, and it does seem like a lot of people are getting used to it, and it does help, you know, with all the cool storylines like Online Tony's Kid. I mean, shout outs to Online Tail, which is super cool, you know. So
Showdown, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and Online Tony winning Street Fighter 4 at that tournament as well, but you know, yeah. I don't know. I wonder, like, are the Tekken guys and the Street Fighter guys and like Daisuke like just all talking to each other? Like, let's make these
maybe
games.
They're all on the same page. Yeah, it's like it's a Japan thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Japan developer thing. Like, dude, no, we need aggression. It makes the crowd get hype. I don't know what the deal is, but you know, for me, I think about it like Tekken 8 compared to Tekken 7. I think of, you know, they were trying to address how to make the game different because obviously everyone liked Tekken 7. But if they just did the same thing again, it would have just been Tekken 7.2, Tekken 7.5. As like, how do you really go? Because the thing about Tekken 7 that was so different is that they added major system mechanics in the same game. Like things like wall bounce, they never added that in the same game before. It usually like wall bounce have been added in Tekken 8, but for the first time you're like, oh shit, like this is all in the same game. Now what do you do for Tekken 8 then?
Right.
So like, well, it's got to be drastically different, bro. And so that's what they did. It's drastically different, which is always a risk, right? You're gonna divide the community a little bit, and that's exactly what happened here. The crazy thing is, the community seems very united right now.
You're right.
I mean, there are some people who are divided still, but overall, I'd say the community is pretty united right now.
Yeah, I mean, because that is an interesting thing. Like, if we look at Strive, for example, right? Strive came out, and yeah, a lot of the old school Guilty Gear heads, you know, who played XX and Exert and such, like, really didn't like Strive. They're like, oh, you simplified things, you changed this, you know, what happened to all of the aerial recovery, all these crazy things. And there was still a very large contingent of new players who really kind of enjoyed it, right? And what has that been like for Tekken 8? Like, has there been a large new player base to Tekken 8? And are they also all still mad at patch 2? You know, like season 2 patch kind of thing, you know?
I'm trying to think of who the best new faces in the scene are in Tekken. And I can't think of a single name. There must be one or two. There must be, but primarily Tekken is still like a legacy-based knowledge game, and the guys who are the veterans, they understand everything already. Like the game isn't to like maybe after season 2 we'll see some new names rise, right? I mean, maybe that's their hope that if they simplify the game enough, then some nobody can beat me and Arslan. You know, like that might be. And honestly, like they're kind of heading in that direction where even a guy like me, who should not be able to compete with Neo Arslan, has a better chance of them now, right?
Right. So, okay.
Maybe that's the hope.
I like that. Gotta ask the real questions. How do the VTubers feel about the patch? Oh, man. Interesting. Okay. Huh. Well, like I said, anything else you want to mention? Because like I said, you know, the floor is kind of yours at this point. So
I just never thought we would have come to the day where Bandai Namco would officially nerf Make Some Noise. Like, how did we get here? You know, Make Some Noise has been officially nerfed by Bandai Namco. That's the headline. So we can go out on that one, I think. Yeah.
Tasty Steve was nerfed then. We nerfed Tasty Steve. Maybe all he'll do is just rip a finger off now instead of the whole arm. It's just the finger. So you know.
Anytime you hear Make Some Noise in an event, that's all you're gonna think about now. You remember when Tekken 8 season 2 launched? That damn Tasty Steve.
I see what you're saying. Now people have a negative connotation with the term "make some noise."
Yeah, exactly. Well, make some noise again. I get it. All right, Steve. Thanks. Thanks, bro.
Man, poor Steve. All right, I'm gonna have to get him on now and ask him his thoughts on.
I saw him this weekend. I gave him crap about it. It's great.
Well, awesome though. I mean, thank you for coming in. I mean, literally, I messaged you like 3 hours before this, and I was like, "Hey, you want to talk about it?" And seems like you definitely want to talk about it.
I mean, I've been talking about it, but like it's good to have a real talk about it.
Yeah, for sure.
More like I got a job.
Yeah. But I mean, also, I tried my best not to make it like super, like just dump on them, like talking about motivations and stuff like that. So it's like, it's definitely a very interesting and I think very nuanced conversation to have, more than just everybody hates it and is mad, you know what I mean? And kind of delving to the bottom of that, I think is really important. So, there you go. So, again, thank you again for showing up. Really, really appreciate that. And, if you want another session to talk about it some more, hit me up and I'll be more than
therapy session right here.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'll be all right. I'll make it through.
All right. Be strong, Rib. You can do this. So don't worry. Look, I just tell you this: when Season 3 Street Fighter 6 comes out and throw loops aren't nerfed and drive rushes aren't nerfed, and I'm feeling the same way, we'll reverse the roles, and you can help me with a therapy session. All right. So awesome.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for hanging out. Feel free to just go ahead and take off and chill and everything like that. But everyone in the chat, definitely give. Oh wait! Before you go, socials. What are your socials? Where can everybody follow you and everything like that?
Yeah, check me out on Twitch and YouTube at Level Up Your Game, and Instagram Level Up Your Game. Twitter Reepal, REEPAL. That's my name. I expect to get a lot more followers in the next 3 months, and then there's one more. TikTok. I'm old ass boomer. On TikTok. There you go.
Wait, are you serious? Your name is old ass boomer?
Serious. I'm old ass boomer. Old ass boomer.
That's amazing. I'm surprised that was never taken.
Well, I'm surprised that Level Up Your Game and Reepal were taken. So, I'm old ass boomer on TikTok.
That's fair. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, there you go. Definitely follow him and, follow for all the information and keep up with all the Tekken stuff and some MK1 stuff as well. So thank you again for coming on, and I'll talk to you later.
Laters.
All right. Peace. Thank you again for Rip coming over here. And so I mean, seriously, definitely sounded like this is a much bigger issue, than a lot of people have heard, because I know a lot of people talk about this just like, oh my God, Tekken 8 bad patch. And now I hope everybody kind of has an understanding of why everybody is so frustrated and why this is, why there has been such universal frustration from everybody. So but there you go. For those of you here on Twitch and YouTube, I'm going to be moving on to this next topic over here. But for those of you on YouTube, hope you enjoyed this talk over here. I forgot to highlight it on the stream. Apologies to my editors over here. Oh, I even had it selected. I just forgot to save the setting there. Oh, okay. But we're going to go ahead and talk about the Red Bull Kumite Paris situation that just happened this past weekend. But for those of you here just watching this on YouTube, hope you enjoyed this. Hope you had a good, very informational discussion here about this Tekken 8 season patch thing. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, etc., etc. I guess I can try to do one of these things, with my editor. So they like, follow, subscribe. Click on the button below, or click on the link below to follow or subscribe to the YouTube channel, and appreciate that. Leave a comment below on how you feel about Tekken Season 8 right now, and don't ever forget that the day that this podcast graced your ears was the most important day of your life. But for me,
it was Tuesday.
All right, so we're just gonna come right back.
It was Tuesday.
Back over here, there we go. So so we'll just do this Red Bull Season 2 thing. Not Red Bull season thing, sorry, I'm just like getting all my brain mixed up right now, because I'm thinking like 7 things at the same time. we'll talk about this Red Bull Kumite situation over here. But again, seriously, thank you, Rip, for coming on and really talking about this in a very, very detailed way and in a very nuanced way as well, because I think that's kind of one of the important things to get out here. But I definitely want to talk about the Red Bull Kumite. And, you know, someone in the chat was like, can someone summarize this, please? Nothing crazy to summarize. I just want to talk about it. There's no, like, drama situation or anything. It's just, like, it was a really cool tournament. It was a lot of fun. So I just want to talk about the results and kind of what they mean and the implications behind them. Let me turn on the light because I'm looking particularly pale today because I forgot to turn on the extra light over here, which adds a lot of the yellow light to this, so I don't look as pale. Because I noticed next to Rip, I was like, holy crap, why do I look like a zombie next to Rip here? So then I don't need the headset anymore either, so now I don't have to have a sweaty head this way. All right, let's do this. Okay. Oh yeah, it was great. Red Bull Kumite was great to watch here. Now, admittedly, I didn't see the LCQ of it, but I'm not super worried about that. However, I do want to grab this thumbnails. Yeah, I don't do the thumbnail stuff anymore because now my editor just grabs a thumbnail right out of the thing. I mean, I guess I could do a few thumbnails for him. Maybe that would actually help. Like I can like react to like rip faces. Like I could just be like, you know, so you can put like Rip on the other side. If I want to do Red Bull Kumite, I can just be like, you know, kind of stuff like that. I can also do the whole like Red Bull Kumite was awesome. I don't have a Red Bull can next to me ready to go. I should grab one and just be like, Red Bull, you know, kind of thing like that. But and then the key charge question was personal. I just didn't understand it. Like I didn't know what the nerf was trying to eliminate. So I was really glad that he was able to explain that situation. So but yeah, let's go ahead and do this Kumite. Actually, you know what? Look, you know what? I got a little extra time today. Sorry, Nathan. Wow, did you hear that meow? Holy crap. Yeah. I need your love anymore. Whoa. Oh, here we go. Aha! I found one. There we go. So, for my editor, I can definitely do a Red Bull thumbnail. I can just be like, oh, cat. Okay, so we can do cat thumbnails too. No, I just want to hug my cat. That's just all it was. Could you guys hear that meow? Oh, you could. You could hear the meow. Okay. Just be like. I just like hugging my cat. There you go. Oh, Joe, no, don't knock this. There's water in here. Oh, man. Oh, careful, Nathan. Don't fall off the table. Oops, sorry, Nathan. Didn't mean to do that. Didn't mean to scare you. Hey, man. If Eris ever wants to hang out, I'm totally down. I love Eris, man. I miss that guy. Put the thing. Where's the thing with the thing? There it is. Oh God, something fell again. Oh, this was attached to something. Hi, Nathan. Do you want brushies? You want brushies? This makes it so you get less hair. Oh, that's right. You like you like cheek brushies is what you like. You like the cheek brushies. Oh, come here, Nathan. There you go. Get in the camera view more. Look at oh yeah. Oh, look at you. The closed eyes and everything. You're just like, oh, this feels so good. Oh, cat. Oh, careful. Oh, see, I was worried about that. Sorry, Nathan. All right, I'm moving this box away. Box is not working. Box is more dangerous to Nathan. God, like you guys can't see it, but there is hair flying everywhere because it is getting warm up here, and yeah, and Nathan's knocking everything down. Jesus. Okay, I'm going to do some major cleaning up here at some point in time. But yeah, there is hair flying everywhere right now because it is getting so warm up here, and it's every time as soon as it gets warm, that's when the hair starts to fly, basically. There you go. Mwah. Hi. Oh, look at you. Oh, somebody else wants some brushies, huh? You want some brushies too? Is that why you came up here? You want some brushies? Yeah. Jasmine came up here for some brushes. Do you want to rub your cheeks? Because you just had the operation on your teeth. If you are totally down with brushies like this on your cheeks, that means you are comfy. Wow, very impressive. All right, look at that. Good girl you are. And you know what? Unfortunately for good girl here is that I am going to have to fast her for a little bit because I am taking her back to the vet tomorrow, just for a follow-up, just to make sure she's okay. So it's nothing serious or anything like that, but this will be the official follow-up appointment for Jasmine here tomorrow. So tonight you're gonna eat a little less and you're gonna be hungry and all this stuff. So hopefully she'll be okay. We'll see. All right. Holy crap, I got cat hair all over my glasses. Oh my God, I can still see cat hair flying around everywhere. Oh, Jasmine, can I pick you up? Hi. My good girl. If you guys still want to help for donations for her vet bills, I would still appreciate that very much. I'll post the link in here one more time for you guys. I'll keep doing this for a while. I'm gonna try to do a stream at one point in time where I actually just try to get to the end of the fundraiser here. I'm already 80% of the way there. So again, you guys have been amazing and I love all you guys and you have helped so much already. But you know, anybody out there who's wondering, like, why do you need, of all people, why do you need help on this? Well, the main reason is because commentators don't get paid that much. And there's not a lot of money in commentary these days. And yeah, I do say these days because it is significantly harder now than it used to be. But also, as well, you know, still going through the craziness with my city, you know, all that stuff over the flooding and all that stuff. And then that's also why I'm kind of going hard in on the content over here. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying the content. My producer team and the new editor has been doing some fantastic work, honestly, and videos seem to be doing really well. So yeah. Wait, a skewed one. Did you just hear me sing that? I just started singing Doobie Doob. Did you have it stuck in your head for absolutely no reason as well? Or is it stuck in your head because I did that and you're confused, but now I'm revealing exactly why you have it stuck in your head because I was singing it earlier. Like when I walked off the stream to pick up the Red Bull can, I just started singing it a little bit and that would probably explain why you probably heard it subconsciously. I was in the back just going doopy 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 doop 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 doopy 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 yeah doopy 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 doop doop doop. I don't need your love anymore. Nope, city still hasn't reimbursed. Which reminds me, I need to email the rest of the condo crew over here. But yeah. Dude, Romano Cheese, if your cats don't love cardboard boxes, they're not cats. Like, that's just the end of the story. Like, if they don't like cardboard boxes, check to make sure that they're not actually secretly like dogs, like in a cat costume, because that's just how it works. So oh, there you go. Yeah, so I was in my kitchen, you was in your kitchen, so it wasn't loud enough to make it so that you knew exactly that I was singing that, but it was subconscious enough that you heard it and now it's stuck in your head. So oh God, Shay, dude, don't. Oh man, that's just like, I read that and I wasn't sure if it was just like a rage bait, like fake news kind of tweet, but I guess it's real, huh? Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Like, I don't. Man. Oh, don't make me get political right now. Oh, I don't need to do that right now. Oh, shit. Oh, okay, anyways, let's talk about something else here. Let's talk about this up here. And sorry, editor, obviously I had highlighted this earlier than actually talking about it, but let's get into this. All right. Here, I'll help a little bit here. Hello everybody, welcome to It Was Tuesday with your host James Chen, aka Jay Chenzor. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the Red Bull Kumite Paris that just took place this last weekend. Really fun event. Again, Red Bull always puts on the best show. And I also got to say here, shout outs to my boy Guacamole over here. I don't know if he's from Australia or what, but that is an excellent handle. And I'm kind of jealous that my handle's not Guacamole. I mean, that's actually pretty sick. But yes, Red Bull Kumite Paris was this weekend. And you can cut this, editor. Sorry, I was in the middle of searching for Red Bull Kumite on start.gg and I forgot to finish doing that. So let's just do this here. I think they do have the last chance qualifier here as well, which was a super cool tournament here. Let's just get to the top 16 over here. Let's do this. Okay. And you know, not enough can be said about how good of a production that Red Bull always puts on for these Kumite events. I mean, a lot of people are like, man, like this is what we should. Yeah, I mean, yes, obviously we would like it if most FGC events could have that level of production and quality and such. It's tough. I mean, obviously Red Bull, you know, their goal is to, you know, build kind of a brand lifestyle, etc., etc. So, you know, they just budget. They don't care if they make all their money back. But at the same time, as you can see, like the audience was packed over there, and it was really cool to hear the audience reactions to stuff. And you know, they were really into it. And you know, what we saw from Capcom Cup, with the people in the audience, with the signs and everything like that, you could tell like they were true fans. I felt like I got a lot of that feeling from Red Bull Kumite Paris as well. You had a lot of people in the stands, with signs for all the different players there and such, ones that you wouldn't have expected, like you would have thought, oh, they're just going to root for their EU players. But I mean, they had signs and stuff like that for everyone. So Tokido didn't enter LCQ at all. No, I guess they just had Tokido there just to be a guest, to show up and like say hello. He didn't play, he didn't do it. It was very odd, but like maybe they didn't want him to play in the LCQ because they wanted his appearance to be a surprise. Because like literally he just came from nowhere. It was so bizarre, but actually kind of cool at the same time. And yes, that is something that cannot be emphasized enough, but being an invitational does help with the production because all the players who are going to be there. 15 of the 16 players who are going to be there, so you can have all these cool segments recorded for them. That is one of the weaknesses of having a true open bracket live event. And so, if people are like, yeah, why can't Evo do this? It's because they don't know who's going to be in their top 8. Otherwise they would have it so that as soon as they figured out the top 8, if you win top 8, now you got to gather, you got to have this thing off to the side where you record all this stuff. Absolutely possible, but you're not going to have it to the degree at which you're going to be able to have the ability to do this kind of thing, which is why, even for something like Capcom Cup, it is important that you get there early, that they know who is qualified early. When I talk about the situation last year, where one of the players couldn't get their visa in time and was like 2 days late and they had to move on before that, that's kind of one of the reasons, because they have to start, getting all that squared away, getting all the assets together, etc., etc. So, oh yeah, I mean, you're talking about Ryan Hunter, or you're talking about Ryan Hart to Halu? Because that's two very different people. There's a Ryan Hart and there's a Ryan Hunter. But yeah, I mean, oh right, there's the Evo Japan numbers as well too. Maybe I'll talk about that a little bit later. But again, Blas was actually there at the last chance qualifiers. So there was a last chance qualifiers. A lot of people won regionals that flew them out to compete at the last chance qualifiers. And the last chance qualifiers had a lot of crazy things go on over there. But like, interestingly enough, Blas was there, and before getting to top 8, he actually lost to Garnett on the winner's side there. So that's a Dulcim player right there. I didn't get a chance to see a lot of this, so I'm not sure exactly what happened in that match with Garnett versus Blas, but it makes sense to me that a Dulcim player was able to give Blas a little bit of trouble, because you also remember he lost to Kakeru, and so it's a lot of the zoner characters that seem like that's been having a little trouble for them. Oh right, they had a play-in and a last chance qualifier. That's right, I think the play-in was the event that they were all flown out for. So the play-in had a total of 8 players there to play, and they had players like Higuchi, Takamura, Idom, Senor Power, Salvatore, ZJZ, Mark the Shark, and Kusanagi. I don't think this is the same Kusanagi. This is a different Kusanagi here. Yeah, this is actually the Mexico City Kusanagi. the France Kusanagi had already qualified. And so what you actually have in this situation over here, and oh my goodness, Start GG, why are you so weird like this? Higuchi was the one who actually made it out of the play-in, and in the last chance qualifiers, it was Akainu who actually made it out there. Salty Kid getting second place, and in fact, Salty Kid was the player who ended up eliminating Blas in the last chance qualifiers, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so Salty Kid started on the loser side, actually beat Blas 3-0 with Kimberly against Blas, and it's just one of those situations where it is hard to find some strong Kimberly players out there, but I don't know if Blas gets to play against Lugabo. I mean, we talk about that. Lugabo, one of the best Kimberlys in Mexico, but Mexico to Chile is a really long distance. Like it's one of those easy geography things to be like, oh, well, one's in Central America, the other's in South America. They play each other all the time. No, that's a very long distance, so probably not that easy to play that commonly. And there's not a lot of Kimberlys out there that can play to the level of Salty Kid, who is also one of the best Kimberly players from the EU region. And so Salty Kid ended up defeating Blas, as well as Mr. Crimson, and then beat Garnett, and then beat Didi Mokov. Wait a minute. Did Didi Mokov play Dalsum in this tournament? Let's see here. What character is this? Why can't I tell? This picture on Start GG does not actually clarify anything to me at all. Who is this character? Oh, it's Aki. Didi Mokov was playing Aki. Okay, Didi Mokov has a history of playing Dalsum in Street Fighter V. So Salty Kid beat an Aki, but then he did beat 2 Dalsums in a row. He beat, but it looks like Mr. Crimson even switched to Zangief to try to beat Salty Kid, which is crazy, actually. And Blas looks like he went Ryu, and then Ken. And lost all 3 games to Salty Kid. And it's interesting here because usually when a player like Blas has a crazy run like that in a tournament, unfortunately that puts everybody aware of this kid, and so like they have more time to study him and such. Blas did not make it out, did end up 7th place in there, but a Kainu with the Guile was able to actually qualify and get to the main event. And in the main event, they had 2 teams. The teams were basically the legends versus the underdogs. And so the only bracket seeding that was set up was, at least in the first round, an underdog had to fight a legend in every single block. And it just worked out that in the next round that it was almost all legends versus underdogs, except for one, which was 2 legends. And it was definitely very nice that by the time we got to grand finals, it was a legends versus underdog, which was really, really cool to see. But in case you guys haven't seen it, I guess I can bring up the brackets here for you guys. I mean, if you didn't want spoilers, I don't know what you're doing here anyways already. But oops, that's not what I wanted to do. That is what I wanted to do. So, as usual, Red Bull Kumite was a first to 5 single elimination tournament. So, unfortunately, if you lost the first set, you were out of the tournament over here. And as you can see, it started with Nyanpi going up against Mena RD. Nyanpi, another Aki player, and shout outs to her because she played very, very well. And was able, let me see, how far can I zoom this in? Because I'm just trying to see right now if I can do this. So yeah, okay, it helps. Well, I mean, you can still see who won based off of the bold. So whatever, it's fine. This will work over here. Also, I need to turn this camera on. Hey, there we go. So as you can see here, Mena RD and Nyanpi went against each other, and Mena RD did go with the Blanca the entire time and ended up taking it 5-3 over Nyanpi, but Nyanpi played really, really well. Was really impressed with her Aki play here, and definitely under that underdog, newcomer kind of moniker. And I hope we do see her able to travel a lot more and be able to really make a name for herself. Again, just it's very strong play, really cool to watch. And then this one, Noah the Prodigy, who has, you know, Daigo has been his idol forever. They did get to fight each other, and sure enough, Noah the Prodigy actually won this 5-2, very convincingly over Daigo. And I don't know if that kind of lit a fire under Daigo, but like a lot of people have been talking about the post-match interview that Daigo had. You know, he was saying like, you know, I've been thinking about, you know, potentially trying to, you know, pull back on the streaming and try to focus more on being a competitor again. And so who knows, maybe this is a situation that will bring Daigo back into the competitive forefront, because, you know, clearly he hasn't been, you know, he has been focusing a lot on the content creation and such. And it's hard to be a content creator as well as being a top player at the same time. Because you look at a lot of those top players, I mean, like maybe Punk is the only one that's been able to do it kind of successfully, but it is hard to do both at the same time, in my opinion. But Noah the Prodigy was able to take it, and again, I mean, I'm super stoked about this because he's such a strong player. He does have that heel factor, and he was very respectful in his post interviews and his, you know, wins and losses here. He was actually very respectful here at Red Bull Kumite. And I'm worried sometimes that heel personality overshadows just how good he actually is at this game and how fun it is to watch him play Luke. So yeah, like I'm really happy to see Noah the Prodigy continue to really kind of make a name for himself here. This one was really interesting. So Xiaohai and Killzoo fought against each other, and you remember at Capcom Cup, Xiaohai was quoted as saying like, yeah, I think Mai is actually like super good. And since Capcom Cup, Mai has been like the talk of the town, right? And Xiaohai even said he wasn't expecting to run into another Mai that actually had, like, one, some tricks that he didn't know about, and two, you know, like, obviously because Killzoo plays Mai, he knew about all the things that Xiaohai was going to try against him. So Xiaohai was saying, like, yeah, I kind of got caught off guard by this, and so I'm going to have to look at this and reevaluate this a little bit. I mean, a lot of people, this is a character that everybody has been talking about now. Mai is one of the big parts of conversation now because OD Fan is just so strong. But at the same time, Killzoo was able to display a lot of very intelligent tactics on how to fight it, mixing between the backdash. You know, you want to try to hit her out of the backdash, go low, you know, so when she stands up and tries the backdash, you catch her in the legs, etc., etc. But then also doing stuff like just going for a heavy DP to catch the forward dash of Mai. And yeah, you get hit by the fan, but you're out of the mix-up situation. You do get knocked down, she gets knocked down, but you get up at around the, you know, very more similar timing, and so Mai's not going to have as good pressure in that situation. So we're still learning and working on this matchup. So clear, is the OD Fan strong? Yeah, absolutely it is, but you know, we still have stuff to learn. Do I personally think OD Fan should still be nerfed? Maybe, because it's clearly very strong. And again, these days when I talk about nerfing and buffing things, it's like, even if there is a good solution for it, and I'm like, okay, cool, like we don't, like, there is an element of something being too strong and being a scrub killer. When I just talked to Rip just recently about the Tekken 8 woes that you can see up there, you could definitely try to find that video on the YouTube channel on this YouTube channel as well. But you do have to think about balancing for high level and for low level. And I think a lot of people, you know, even at low levels, are frustrated dealing with OD Fan because it's a very oppressive move, right? It is resource intensive though, and that's the problem. And maybe at the low levels, it's not necessarily even being as strong as we think. I'm really curious about that. So let's take a look at this. If we head to Buckler's boot camp over here, I'm really curious to see what the last month's stats are over here, fighting stats here. So if we go to their fighting stats and we click on rookie, for example, we don't care about control type. Let's just go down here. Yeah, like if you look at this, Mai's win rate is only at 55%. So even at the lower levels, she's not necessarily doing better than Terry, Marisa, Ken, or Blanca, or Honda. And of course, the king of low levels, who is Zangief, still has the 65% win rate here. If we go to Iron here, yeah, look at this. Mai drops even further to 52%. And that Bronze over here, Mai is down to 51%. So she's not even dominating the lower side. She does go up a little bit in Silver. She goes back to 52%. But the important thing to understand about this is what that means is that she's not just being free wins for a lot of low-level players, because if they do abuse the OD fans too much, they're dying. So there is a situation, there is an argument to be said here that even for low levels, there's no reason to nerf Mai at all. That maybe we should just, you know, keep playing and see how it goes. So that's interesting. Oh, in Diamond, huh? So John the Automaton is saying that in Diamond, Mai is, oh, look at this. Wow, so from Silver, where she goes from 52%, then to Gold, she skyrockets to 53%, and then at Platinum, oh, weird. Platinum, what the hell? She drops to less than 50%? So there's this skill barrier for Mai. It's like Platinum is where people learn how to actually manage meter better, and where people take advantage of people with who are burned out a little bit better. And then at Diamond, the Mai players just like all of a sudden get really strong. And yeah, even in Masters, she has one of the higher win rates over here. So clearly Mai is not a scrub-friendly character, but she is very strong once we get into this Diamond range here. Also, what this might mean, and again, which is why statistics is always a very difficult thing to understand, is that maybe Mai is a character who gets carried in placement matches. So maybe anybody, you know, who can use Mai to a degree where the fans are strong for them, they just get dropped in Diamond a lot more often. And so this is where she is doing the most damage. Interesting, very interesting discussion to think about and to talk about here. For my editor as well, there's even an argument, maybe even to break this out into its own video conversation, talking about how Mai is doing in these situations here. But it clearly seems like if you are a good player, then Mai does really well for you, because you do have the resource management knowledge, and on top of that, maybe it's just a lot of people are just getting dumped into Diamond immediately with the placement matches and just go forward. So you just don't see a lot of these characters here. What we can also do is go back over here to the stats and look at the character usage stats, right? Like this will give us a little bit more information over here. But it looks like Mai is the highest usage in all of the brackets, right, in all of the ranks right now. So that might not hold any weight in terms of how strong the character is, because she is still the highest character being used. And obviously she's brand new, so a lot of people are going to be using her. And then but I mean, look at this. It, like, the rate actually starts to get higher and higher. So even in rookie, it's pretty, like, not that much higher. And then in Iron, it's only 3% higher. But as soon as we go to Bronze, all of a sudden 5% higher, 9% higher, you know, still around like that 8% higher. And yeah, so in Diamond, I mean, Jesus, look at how, but see, this is telling, right? So actually, the placement match debate is probably actually really important, because look at how much, I mean, like, we went from like 10% rises over here, 10%, 8%, et cetera. And then, you know, here 8% all of a sudden to a 20% increase in diamond. So I think that's actually what's happening. I actually think the stats and the data actually do show that this character is carrying a lot of players, that in the placement matches, they just get out of these ranges, or even if you do get placed down here, because win streaks build up your point earning, right? So you earn points faster, that even if you do get placed down here, it takes very few matches to get you all the way up over here. Now, commonly, it is very often that the newest DLC character gets the most play, and so she's brand new, and this is all stats literally for the month of February, right when she dropped. So this is not even the March stats or anything, because we haven't had the March stats published yet. That would give us a little more information. So obviously Mai's going to have a lot of high usage, but it seems like people are getting to diamond with Mai very, very quickly, either through placement or by beating people technically with win streaks. So okay, so in a couple of days we'll get that stat, so maybe we'll revisit it at that time. But, you know, clearly right now, if she is that strong in the weaker, you know, against weaker players, and maybe she is carrying a lot of people, yeah, maybe the OD fan does actually need to be nerfed. And again, Capcom will have a more detailed view of this. And like I said, is it wrong to balance for less strong players? You know, it is interesting. Like I said, again, in that conversation I had with Rip, you know, balancing for the top levels is probably very important. But at the same time, you know, you don't want a character like Mai just ruining people's enjoyment of the game, right? So, yeah, be interesting to see what happens with Mai. I mean, it would be interesting to know when we're getting a patch at all for season 3, and how much changes we have to expect, but that's a whole nother topic. So, oh man. Anyways, let's get back over here. So that was Xiaohai and Kills You. So Kills You took that one, and then Big Bird was able to take out Kusanagi, which was an interesting one because it looked like Kusanagi had a really hard time in this match. And in a lot of ways, I feel like, you know, Kusanagi obviously took UFA, big win. Didn't do so well at Capcom Cup, and here only going 5-2 against Big Bird. Kusanagi is one of those players who was absolutely right there, just starting to be one of the top players. I think right now he might be suffering from a little bit of like that expectation pressure. Like he won UFA, got to Capcom Cup, didn't do so well at Capcom Cup because of the nerves, etc. But that also kind of piles on to that. Like, oh, I did bad at Capcom Cup. Here comes Red Bull Kumite. Here's my chance to show what I'm actually capable of. And then fought Big Bird. And then Big Bird, who himself is coming into this tournament with a lot of frustration. So it's interesting. Like, I haven't heard Big Bird actually say this, but I have been saying this even like during the Capcom Cup previews. I was like, this guy has lost a lot of confidence, right? I really feel like he has, because season 1, he was dominating. Everybody was like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. Then Angry Bird was the one that won Evo. And then Big Bird had the misfortune of having his character, 1, discover that she isn't actually that good, and 2, get nerfed. So like he was kind of running through a situation where he was having a little trouble as well. Fortunately, he found Rashid, and Rashid is a character that he loves, and so he was able to do some work with Rashid. But even then, his records haven't been as solid as I'm sure he would love to have them be. And, you know, although, you know, L.I. Joe was joking last year about, you know, the better bird at Red Bull Kumite New York, you can tell that comment has really stuck to Big Bird, because all the way up until Street Fighter 6, you know, for me, just the general gauge on the scene here, you know, it's always been kind of noted that people seem to treat Big Bird as the stronger player than over Angry Bird, right? It's always been Big Bird and Angry Bird, Big Bird and Angry Bird. And only in Street Fighter 6 has it really now started to feel like Angry Bird. And then what Angry Bird did at SFL EU was just unprecedented. Super strong play there. And I feel like, Big Bird has had a real strong hit to his confidence. Hungry Clicker did a Rashid art. Well, there you go. Yes, that is absolutely why. I have been saying this. I really do think, and just judging through facial expressions, through reactions, through interviews, and through gameplay itself, I really felt like Big Bird was having a tough time, and he needed something to regain a lot of confidence. And it was really cool because during one of the interviews that he gave, I believe it was after he won, he literally said, my confidence has been shot. Like I've been having a lot of trouble with my confidence, and this is a help, and this is a big deal here. And, again, like, I think one of my superpowers, I'm sorry that I keep mentioning this, but I really feel like one of my superpowers is really that empath, the empathy, the understanding what people are feeling and going through. And so, yeah, like he literally confirmed what I said. And I'm like, nice, okay. But, this win, in fact, even on the Battle Hub for winning Capcom Cup, I actually picked Big Bird because I was like, he needs that big breakout. He needs that confidence boost kind of thing. I think it's happening here. And apparently I picked one event too soon because he didn't do particularly great at Capcom Cup, but he won this one. So I was one event too fast. But again, like I said, I don't know what it is. Like I have this ability to really understand where a lot of people are thinking and where their brains are. It's really interesting. And like I said, I think it's a superpower, and it sounds like I'm conceited or whatever about that. But like, I can't, like, I'm right a lot. I'm right a lot. Could Big Bird and Angry Bird joining Team Reject have given the two some quality Japanese training that could have helped Big Bird? Potentially, but again, just because they're part of Team Reject doesn't mean they live in Japan now, right? So they're still going to be playing mostly, in the Middle East region. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's improved or anything, and they're good friends with everyone in Japan. Being a part of Team Reject isn't gonna suddenly make the Japanese go like, oh, now we'll train with you. Like, I'm sure they were all training, like, if they could train with the Japanese players, they were doing all the time, because again, especially with the mentality that Japanese players have, which is, yeah, we'll play everybody and we'll show everybody everything because we want to learn together, and, teaching the opponent to be stronger makes us stronger if we can still beat them. It's a very different mindset, right? And is, I think, a lot different between, arcade cultures, America, at least in the West, at least in America. There was always rivalries between arcades, and you didn't want to tell people things because you always wanted to be on top. And that's kind of been the underlying, feeling. It's better now because a lot of the top players do help each other all the time. And that's why it frustrates me when people are like, what happened to our scene? We're so soft now. No, we're trying to get better so we can beat everybody else. So, stop calling it soft when top players are helping top players, okay? All right, anyways, that's a complete aside. But yeah, I think Big Bird really kind of needed this thing. Zangief Bolato was amazing. Like, the fact that he took 3 games off of Capcom Cup champion Kakeru's JP in what is one of Zangief's worst matchups, Dude, Zangief Bellotto was amazing, and this is the sad part about having a single elimination tournament, is that when you lose someone like Zangief Bellotto, you don't get a chance to see him again, because he was sick. I really enjoyed watching him, and like I said, doing this to the Capcom Cup champion is not easy at all. Like this is especially in this matchup, not a good matchup. And I've seen some people complain about this, obviously. Like, it's just unfortunate that one UK player was on the Legends, one UK player was on the Underdogs, and, they drew the tokens randomly, and Problem X and Ending Walker had to face each other. It's one of those things, people were saying. I heard some takes like, it's so easy just to put in like one specific rule, like, nope, in the first round we can't have same region fight same region, kind of thing. So maybe, but I mean, again, you don't want to seem biased, you don't want to seem unfair, so you just let it go where it goes. But Ending Walker, now back to the Ryu. So this is the character Ending Walker started with. And, as time went on, it was very clear that Ryu was not strong enough. So we switched to Ed, obviously, because Ed was his favorite character in 5. And when Ed finally dropped his DLC, he picked him up. And he had massive success with this character. But Ed did get nerfed a little bit. And while in Japan, a lot of the Japanese players continue to stick with Ed, Ending Walker has chosen to go to Ryu, and his Ryu is looking strong. Holy crap, looking strong. Oh, don't forget that Team Reject is part of Japan, SFL Japan. Yeah, so I mean, that's the question, right? Big Bird and Angry Bird were on SFL EU last year. Are they going to just go to SFL Japan? It's hard because you have to be there for 4 months. So does that mean they're just going to move out there? It could absolutely happen, which would actually make Big Bird and Angry Bird the only players to play in all 3 regions of Street Fighter League, which would be hilarious. But, that's a commitment. Street Fighter League in Japan is like a 4-month affair. It is all online. A lot of it is online, so maybe they can test the connections, but it would still be like fairly uncomfortable to play from Japan to the Middle East online like that. So, but yeah, Ending Walker looked amazing. Unfortunately, as I was restreaming this event, I was freaking dying because I had been up for so long. So I used this part of the bracket to go take a nap. I didn't see these matches directly, so I can't comment on them, but I have heard the Bonchan versus Akainu match was amazing, so I might have to go back and try to watch this at some point in time. But Gachakun and Bonchan did move on. This was the one place in the bracket where both of the legends moved on, and they had to fight each other as a result in the next part of the bracket. And Bonchan actually with a dominant performance over Gachakun. The crazy thing about this is that Japan has been saying that they don't think that Rashid is that strong anymore. That, the fact that OD spinning mixer getting nerfed to have no Oki was a big deal. And I totally get that, because having a reversal move actually even set up your level 2 Isar mix-up or just give you kinds of good pressure is really strong. And so nerfing that means that once you bust out of those situations, you don't get as much of an advantage, right? Like if you needed a good way to set up level 2, having a completely invul move, for a few frames, but it acted as a invul DP, in the OD mixer, having that as a way to set up your best mix-up is a really powerful thing to have, and losing that was enough that I know a lot of Japanese players don't consider Rashid that strong. But honestly, I mean, we can say that, but like we said earlier, Big Bird won this tournament and was making Isar still look really frustrating to deal with. So I still think Rashid you know, some people are saying he's not what I still think he's top 3 for now, but you know, obviously as time goes on, we'll see. And this one was interesting here. Remember, Kakeru was the only person who was able to defeat Blas at all at Capcom Cup. He beat him in winner's side and sent him in losers, and then he beat him in grand finals. So clearly, Kakeru can fight Ryu pretty well, but Ending Walker showing up with the Ryu and really just kind of steamrolling Kakeru 5-2. I mean, that's a pretty dominant performance there. And, you know, especially for Ending Walker, when you do something like that, you're like, I mean, now the pressure's on. Like this tournament is mine now. Like, I just beat Kakeru, so, like, I need to take this tournament, you know, kind of a situation. And I did think that came and bit him a little bit for Ending Walker, but again, this is a really impressive win here. And, you know, the thing is that Blas and, you know, Ending Walker both being very, very young players, both being on the, you know, team underdogs. You know, it's funny to call them underdogs because I don't think a lot of them are underdogs. I would call them like team like newer than the other guys. But Ending Walker and Blas play very different styles, right? Ending Walker is so like, it's weird, like, while there's a lot of like crazy heart reads that he makes with some of those perfect parries, like neutral, 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 neutral parry, and like you're like, what? How did you do that? Kind of a thing. But the way that Ending Walker, you can tell, approaches the game very, very pragmatically. Like he's very precise. He studies situations. Like Ending Walker is the exact player that Street Fighter V and Street Fighter VI. You know, allowed to come into the scene and play fighting games, because a lot of fighting games of the past were still largely played by heart, and so a lot of the mind players, you know, Street Fighter wasn't exactly their wheelhouse, but 5 and 6 definitely opened the door for them. And I think Ending Walker is kind of one of those players. Again, once you get to the highest level, everything becomes heart in general. But even then, your history of playing the game dictates how even you decide to make these heart decisions at the highest level. And I think Kakeru is more suited to being able to fight heart players. And even though Blas is super young, I mean, again, you can see, like, he was, I know someone from Chile told me that Blas, you know, plays on joystick. I don't know if he was playing on joystick at any of these events. He might have gone to other controllers, but what I've heard is that he can use pretty much anything. But I mean, there's definitely, you can tell Blas learning in Chile, there's still a lot of old school mentality. And honestly, the way Blas plays felt like, to me, more like a more old school heart kind of player. And I think Kakeru just does better against that. And I think Ending Walker is just the kind of right player that would give Kakeru trouble. And that's what we saw here. So, Team New Generation. Yeah, that actually would have been a great name, actually. Team New Generation. I like that. I like that. And then Big Bird was able to take out Kills You, just kind of like a rematch. You know, they played each other a couple of times at Street Fighter League EU. But yeah, he was able to take out Mai. And so again, clearly he had everything, you know, he labbed the situation. He knew what to expect, and he was able to fight the Mai. So right now, there's some people saying that Mai might be number 1 in the game. Some people are like, she's top 3, and other people are like, you guys are crazy. She's not even super good, etc., etc. So I think the jury's still out on Mai, right? And I know there's a jury pun in here somewhere, a jury Mai pun here somewhere, but I'm not going to try to make it, so I'm just going to let it go. Yeah, no, absolutely, Forrest. Like, maybe shocks you, but like, she started out like people were saying she's kind of weak, but now people are talking about her like she might be the best character at this point. I mean, I don't think so. Like, I think that's kind of crazy, but, you know, maybe, I mean, is she really strong? Potential? Dude. So, yeah, I'm talking like this, trying to make it so that Nathan doesn't think I'm actually paying attention to him right now. Oh, he saw me. Dude, Nathan is on top of the fridge already, and he was just staring forward. He wasn't even staring at me. He was staring forward. Like, he was actually looking like just straight this way, and he looked so pensive, and he was just like, life. What does life mean when I crawl on top of the refrigerator and my father does not feed me right away? What is this life? How can this be true life? You know, it was actually kind of funny. Anyways, whoops. There we go. Let's not talk about any supposed leaks, because I don't want to know anything about leaks. Please, please, please. Please, please, please. Nobody talk about any leaks here. Also, for the benefit of everybody else here who hasn't heard anything and would prefer not to hear anything as well. So, I have a cat tree. It's just that the fridge top is where I feed Nathan. So he's hoping by jumping up here, that triggers me to feed him, basically, is what's going on. When Mena RD and Noah the Prodigy went up against each other, Noah started strong. And I've been talking about how Mena has a character crisis, and even Justin mentioned the character crisis. And I keep thinking that Mena maybe should go back to Luke, but even Noah, after he lost, was like, yeah, Luke sucks. You know, so I don't know. Maybe they all just think Luke is actually not good. But when did you get down here, Nathan? I didn't even see. What the hell? Jesus. Nathan teleported. Nathan is a ninja. Nathan is a ninja. But Noah the Prodigy looked like he was gonna, like the first game, I really felt like it was looking like Mena might have some trouble here as well, but Mena turned it around, and again, a lot of it is because Mena is just literally like, I mean, he's just that good, right? So even a Mena with a character crisis is stronger than most players are who have been using their main forever. So yeah, Mena RD extremely strong, taking out Noah the Prodigy here. And a lot of it too is that because Mena has always been so good at controlling the pace of the match. If you want to talk about what makes Mena really strong, is that a lot of people out there, you know, have their play style like Noah. They go nuts, etc., etc. Mena is really good at forcing people to just like have to abandon their normal strategy. He's like an equalizer. Like, if you play this way, he makes you play this way. If you play, sorry, you can't see my hands. If you play this way, he makes you play this way. If you play like, Jesus, this is so hard. If you play this way, he makes you play this way. If you play this way, he makes you play this way. He's really good at funneling you into what he wants to do. And so a lot of times, if you rely on a certain style to fight against him, it's very hard to win. That is one of the reasons why Mena is so good, because he forces everybody kind of into the way he wants you to play. And he really did do that to Noah the Prodigy afterwards, even with a character with no reversal against the wild play style of Noah the Prodigy. And a lot of times it really felt like Noah just didn't have the ability to play Noah style. Like, you can when you watch that match, it just really feels like Noah couldn't be Noah in that situation. So, I don't know what that reference is to Halu. I'm not sure. And this one obviously could have went either way. As you can see here, 4-5. Big Bird just eking it out. The crazy thing about it is I did restream all these matches and watch these matches. I'm starting to realize right now I can barely remember what happened in these matches because I was only half awake and I think I kept falling asleep on stream. But, you know, clearly this is a very close match. And Mena RD here did fall short at the very, very end. I mean, again, these two are clearly some of the best players, but like I said, I felt like Big Bird was going to have a tournament soon where he was like man on a mission kind of thing, and I thought it was going to be Capcom Cup, but it turned out to be this tournament here, and he was able to defeat Mena. Oh, menacing, I get it. Okay, I see. Anyways, Big Bird was able to take that, and then Ending Walker was able to take out Bonchan again, just with this crazy Ryu play over here. Now, 2 tournaments in a row with Ryu in grand finals, 2 tournaments in a row, big tournaments with strong players, where Ryu gets grand finals, Ryu might be pretty good, right? I mean, it definitely, at least, adds more credence to the Ken is the weakest Shoto argument, you know. Clearly not because Ken is weak, but it actually turns out because Ryu is actually really strong. But, you know, obviously Ryu is doing very well and is very, very much moving up in a lot of players' esteems and rankings and tier lists and such like that. But again, Street Fighter 6 is a very, very balanced game. Very, very balanced game. I mean, if you count Luke as a Shoto, maybe he's the weakest Shoto, maybe. I guess it's still not Ken. Like it's just not Ken. But I mean, Ending Walker tweeted this after he lost, and he was just like, I really, really wanted this win. And you can actually see it too. Like after he lost, like I had never seen Ending Walker like have that much disappointment in his face, and he's not very expressive. And so he wasn't very expressive after he lost, but there was just something about it, like the he just had a little bit more of a frown on his face, and just his body language, like not getting up out of the chair right away, etc., etc. You could tell that it really hurt him to not take that event, and you know, I get that. And I said it to Mena, I said it to Ending Walker on Twitter as well. You know, it's tough, right? And, you know, a lot of people are like, don't worry, Ending, you'll get him next time, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm not going to be like, yeah, your time will come. But I was just like, dude, like, use the loss as fuel for your future matches, right? Like, that's what you tell a lot of people. If you feel really crappy if you lose, kind of remember how crappy you felt, and that might just give you that extra adrenaline push. That might just give you that little extra boost, you know, to be like, wake up, stop playing so lazy, you know, etc., etc. And yes, it happens to all top players. Everybody suffers from mental fatigue when you play in these tournaments where you're fighting against some really smart players. Your brain gets tired, and a lot of times you get far in a tournament, and then at some points you just make some decisions that you know, oh, if I'm right, I win. If I lose, I die. And you just go for it, and like you die. And you know, had that been you in round number 1, you would have never made that choice, because you're like, no, I'm not doing that, because I'm gonna win in a different, you know, like, it's crazy. And you know, so you know, take those losses and use that as fuel to be like, no, I'm not gonna make any lazy decisions, or I'm not going to, you know, just be like, I get to stay focused, I have to stay focused, etc., etc. Do I think Ending Walker's time will come? I mean, it's hard not to think that with how good he is. But like I said, I feel like it doesn't help anybody just being like, your time is coming, you'll win it, you know, kind of a thing. So I try not to go there very, very often. Let's just put it that way. So, oh yeah, giving the fan a high five. Oh man. But Big Bird took it. And like I said, I felt like one of these events was coming. I really, really honestly did feel like Big Bird was going to have an event like this that would actually help boost his confidence again. And again, for a player like him, getting a win like this, and it's not even just getting, you know, oh, a nice win here at a big event. Like, you can talk about that all you want, but like, we cannot just discount the fact that his wins were over Kusanagi, Kills You, Mena RD, and Ending Walker. That's a really strong set of players over there. Now, granted, you know, half of them were from EU, and he played them a lot at the and I'm sure he practiced a lot with him at SFL EU and stuff. But, you know, taking out Mena RD in a barn burner 5-4, and then taking out Ending Walker, you know, where Ending Walker felt like he was a man on a mission, because 5-3 over Bonchan, and then 5-2 over Kakeru, and then 5-2 over Problem X. I mean, Ending Walker was kind of on a roll. So I feel like this is a really, really good and important win for Big Bird here. And I really do feel like that this will help him at future events. I expect him to do very well at EVO Japan, at EVO Worlds, etc., etc. Does that mean he's going to be back to that I'm winning everything way? I mean, you can't say that about a single player in Street Fighter 6. Like, it just feels like at this point, like, oh man, it's so hard to be so consistent in this game because everyone is so goddamn good in this game. It's really tough. So, but I do think that this is a very, very important win for Big Bird. Has a chance to, I mean, again, you know, I said, like, I really feel like that comment from L.I. Joe at Red Bull Kumite about being the better bird really hurt him, because when he said that, like, the facial expression, the body language on Big Bird just made him look like he was just like that. It was weird, because it felt like Big Bird saw a lot of truth in that statement, and like it kind of hurt him a lot of ways. And when he won this, he even said, like, oh yes, I mean, L.I. Joe was like, you are the better bird, you know, and stuff. But then Big Bird was even like, you know, because of last year, I want Joe to hand me the trophy, you know, and he got Joe to hand him the trophy. I really do think that line got to him a lot. And again, like, I'm not saying this because I'm like, shit, what a loser, dude. This guy, no, dude, like, it's... Again, this is going to be one of those, pardon my French periods, but it's really fucking hard to stay confident and to stay composed and to believe in yourself in these kind of situations, man. Like if you're at that point where you're just on top of the world and you start feeling yourself not having that kind of success, like, things even that are meant to be jokes can really stick with you, man. And, like, you know, anybody who's like, oh well, you shouldn't let emotion get, dude, bro, come on. Like, the whole, like, a large portion of this world runs on emotions, and everybody out there who sits there and tries to pretend that being emotional makes you weak, just stop, okay? Like, everybody has emotions, and just because you can shut yours down and turn yourself into a heartless robot doesn't make you better than anybody else, okay? Because I could turn it the other way too, right? I can make it sound like if you're not emotional, that's a bad thing too. It's tough being in this situation, and that's why I'm really glad for Big Bird to have won this. Like, it's hard because I think Ending Walker winning this would have been great, especially, you know, with the whole Legends versus newcomers narrative, like, showing, like, look, we're here, like, the newcomers are here. But, you know, I'm also super happy for Big Bird, because I really, really wanted him to win one of these to get a lot of that strength back, you know. I mean, again, if they call him L.I. Jerk, man, bring me back, because I was the one who came up with that name. Guacamole, yeah, that's why he loves my stuff. Afro Sama Senpai, damn, came in and James spitting facts as usual. Yeah, absolutely. Again, like, it's and again, like, it's even worse when you're in these positions, because Big Bird is also someone who gets a lot of hate on Twitter for no goddamn reason. And, you know, it's just one of those things. It's like when you're in this position, when you're a top player, you just get this garbage all the time. People, you're washed up, you suck, you're making excuses, you're lame, blah, 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 blah. And like, you know, you can sit there and just be like, oh, whatever, they're just hating. They're haters, and just do that for a really long time. But it gets through, man. It gets through. And it's tough because you hear it enough and you're like, what if they're right? Maybe I do suck now. You know, like, it's hard. Dude, it's hard being in that kind of a position. And you've seen it from all the top players, how they can react very negatively to, like, it's always not like the big one that makes someone snap either. It's always like the most random stupid one where some guy's like, haha, you suck. And then it's just all of a sudden the floodgates open and player X is just like, okay, problem X exists, so I won't say it that way. Player D just all of it just starts just like, yeah, like, you stupid, you guys, I hate you. And like, it just comes out like that all of a sudden, because that's usually not the one, you know, that's not the one that they're the most mad at, but that's just where the armor finally broke, you know. And like I said, I've seen this happen for 30 years. Okay, I've been seeing this happen for 30 years through so many different players, through myself, through everybody. It is a tough situation to be in. And so, like, again, I don't talk about this about Big Bird because I'm trying to, you know, like, oh God, what a wuss kind of thing. No, I'm talking about it because, again, I understand very much where he's coming from. I empathize so much, and I'm extremely happy for him to have won this event because, like I said, I think this will do a lot of good for him. So, yeah, no artists talk about this a lot. An illustration of theirs can get 100 compliments on Twitter, and one bad comment is the bad comment that will often stick the hardest. Absolutely, absolutely. That's just the way it works, you know. But I'm really happy that Big Bird won this tournament. I think that's great. Also, as a 10-year anniversary, you know, from the first Red Bull Kumite, which I was at Red Bull. Bring me back. But, you know, Big Bird was able to win it and become a 2-time Red Bull Kumite champion after winning Red Bull South Africa. So I'm really happy for him. But, you know, that's kind of how I felt like this tournament went. That's kind of the storylines that stuck out to me in particular about what happened with this event. And again, Red Bull continues just to keep killing it on the production side of things, and they just make such cool stuff. Someone in the chat said, "What about that trophy, James?" And I'm like, thank you for reminding me, because I definitely wanted to talk about that. This trophy's so sick, but they do a lot of that every time, you know, where the keys unlock the thing and stuff like that. But, you know, having it so you put the tokens on and the Eiffel Tower, and it's just really cool. And you know, as players too, you know, when you're at an event like that, you know, it feels nice when an event like that kind of goes the extra mile for these players, you know. So they'll make this crazy trophy. They do all this work to make sure that, you know, you have your video clips and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. It's really great to have. And, you know, Rob TV, L.I. Joe, Z being the 3 hosts back to back now. Again, they're doing a great job. They're killing it out there. And I really was glad that they use a lot of the EU commentators out there, in particular, also closing it out with F-Word, Logan. Of course, Logan and F-Word were like the people who basically like not created, but basically like forged European commentary. And then Damascus, obviously, you know, being a French player and being from the French scene, being able to do the finals commentary at Red Bull Paris seems very apt. So I was really happy with Red Bull's decision to put those 3. Shout outs to Liv as well, and Justin Wong and Yipes, obviously amazing commentators. So it's always a hard thing when I sit here and I'm like, please hire me for commentary. What I'm basically asking is, please, you know, take this opportunity away from one of my friends. And it is a really wonky situation and a very tough place to be in, but Look, I'm not gonna balk about having Yipes and Justin Wong being there doing commentary. So shout outs to them, and I don't want to get into a whole commentary discussion again. So really shout outs to them. Very great production, awesome stuff, and always look forward. I always look forward to the Red Bull FGC events. You guys should as well. Support it and really just enjoy the kind of fun that they put into it, because you know, that is one of the important things. I talked about the Sajam Slam, and the Sajam Slam has done such a good job in showing people the fun of fighting games again, right? Even through the learning process. And then stuff like Red Bull Kumite really kind of just shows off how fun the community is, trash talking with the hosts, etc., and just, you know, just being a celebratory event. It feels like a celebratory event, and that's what makes the Red Bull Kumite is so good. It feels like it's an event put on to celebrate the players that are there. You know, it doesn't feel like it's a tournament, cool. Like, it's like, okay, it's cool. It's tournament, obviously, it's fun, but like, aren't these players awesome? You know, that kind of thing. And that's one of the things that I love about Red Bull Kumite the most. So, well, thank you, Forrest, who says, I can at least say as a James fan that I wish you had been there. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. And please, Capcom, make Marisa relevant in Season 3. Yes, as much as I don't like fighting Marisa, yes, I agree. So, for real, your character being irrelevant hurts a lot more than being bad. That's actually a really, really cool quote, John the Automaton, because yeah, like I felt that way about Kimberly, right? Like in Season 1, like, okay, I didn't have success with Kimberly, but you know, someone else should. Nobody did. Nobody had success with that character. And yeah, that hurts. That sucks a lot, because you're like, oh, I can't do it, but it's cool to watch someone else do what I can't do. But then, like, they can't do it either, and you're just like, oh, like a bunch of the cool Japanese Kimberly players all left Kimberly, and it made me sad. So, oh, man. Oh, yeah, if I fight for more Marisas, and that's all the double-edged sword, too, is that because she got a little bit weaker, that also meant that I ran into significantly less Marisas as well. So, like, even when she's bad, I never really was able to get the practice I needed to fight against her, so I would still die to Marisa all the time because they came so far and few in between. Whatever that phrase is, it just was really hard to find them. So few and far in between, I think is yeah, it's the other way. Anyways, yeah, of course, yeah, it's not perfectly balanced. It's still balanced better than a lot of other games. So, but yeah. So Yamisaru says, she takes so much work, Kim. I had to drop her after Master too. I mean, she's significantly better now, and I think she's one of the only characters of the new characters that has managed to escape the doldrums of that bottom tier, right? So Lily, Jamie, Marisa, and Manon are all still languishing down there, and Kimberly has definitely moved up, even though I think Kimberly is probably on the bottom end of the higher bracket, but without question, she's super strong. I mean, look at the last chance qualifier, Salty Kid getting second place, right? And then died to a Kainu, because Kimberly versus Guile, I think, sucks. A lot of Kimberlys out there say it's better. Oh, it's not that bad. And to be honest, the fact now that I can slide under a Sonic Boom and hit Guile and be plus every single time is going to make a huge difference, because I hated sliding under a Sonic Boom, hitting Guile, and then losing my turn and having to be in a mix-up. That really sucks. And in fact, actually, if I do hit the Sonic Boom, I'm not even going to be plus in that way. It's going to be a knockdown, because now the slide on punish counter is a knockdown, right? So yeah, it's not even +1. You just get a knockdown, which is really, really nice. So, but run stop cancels hurt your hands. That's true. That does happen. Although how are you doing run, stop, cancels, Yami-Saru? We could probably edit this part out unless you want to leave it here in case anybody else finds this very useful. But how are you doing run cancels? Because you might not be doing it the easy way, which might means that you are actually doing way more work than you really needed to. Oh, what is happening over here? Is it? Oh, okay, I see what it is. Let's see here. Why is this not working? What the hell's happening over here? Oh, you are the first player controller? Shoot. All right, I gotta do something. Hang on, give me 1 second really quick here, because I just want to be able to show you something here. There we go. So that should be fixed here. Yeah, there we go. All right, here we go. Thank you, Benjamin. Appreciate that. So yeah, we can cut this out of the episode. You don't need to put this in here because clearly I have gone down another path here. But again, these are paths that I like to go because I always like to teach people stuff. Oh, this is display. Oh no, this is the right one. Oh, there we go. Why is that listed as mage? Oh, because it is the mage world. That's right. Okay, yeah. Okay. Let me help you out with Kimberly over here. No, I like doing this stuff. I like helping people with this, and I think this is really, really important. So one of the things about Kimberly, and look at my inputs in the middle of the screen over here, is that you actually don't need to tap anything. You don't need to tap a goddamn thing. So the way that I have my button controller set, I always do medium kick and heavy punch. You can't do the same strength because you come out with other stuff. But if you do medium and heavy punch, if you do quarter circle forward plus those two buttons and just hold the buttons and make sure you hold, you don't even need to hold forward for this one. But if you just hold those two buttons, you will stop at the fastest time possible. This is the fastest run stop that you can do. So anytime you want to do this, you just hold the buttons and she will automatically stop. There's no timing, there's no extra tapping, whatever. That's it. That's it. So that's gonna be guaranteed run as fast as you can and stop. You know, the only danger is if you accidentally plink punch before kick, but if you time them at the same time or even just piano them like kick punch like this and just hold the buttons, you will never run longer than you need to. So yeah, you can just do this every single time. So just plink those two buttons together. And then of course, because I have this button over here, how did I do this before? This button over here, I don't know why it's set right now. Let's see here. This button over here, okay, so I don't have that set to anything. This is supposed to be over here. Oh, it is set there. Is it because I have the shortcut turned on. Let me turn off the shortcut really quick here just to show you. Oops. Ah, crap. I hate it when that happens. Okay, so turn that off. Where did B go? I guess B wasn't here before, right? Well, no, I definitely had something at B. It's counter settings. Okay, so if I do this. Oops. Counter settings. Function, but I turned off function up here. Hang on a second, sorry. So I have to come back here and do that. Okay, now I can turn off this. Okay, so now I have this again. Because I have this button up here set to parry, this is punch plus kick here. So I will use heavy kick along with it. So if you look at my, so remember I said I use these two buttons when I want to cancel the run stop, like this, right? So I have on the 3 punch button over here. So in other words, I hit these two buttons right here, this button and this button for that. And if I shift over just one more, which makes it very easy to remember because this is my drive parry button. If you notice what happens when you do that is that you'll hit 2 kicks and a punch at the same time, which means you'll do the OD version of it. The only thing you have to be careful of is not hold too long. Because if you hold too long, and in fact, you can, I think if you, oh no, there's no way, yeah. You just have to be careful not to hold too long or you go into drive parry. But if you want to do this one, that's how I usually do it, like this. And again, you see, I don't even have to hold it for that long. Like, and that's it, right? Same thing with this one here. You don't even have to hold it for that long. But, you know, if you, for example, hate it whenever you try to do, you hate it whenever you try to do a punish counter like this, and you're trying to like, how do I time the run into the stop to hit them in time? Just hold the buttons and you'll get the fastest speed no matter what. That's it. That's it. Like I just hit them, do the quarter circle, hold the buttons, and I'll automatically run and stop. I don't even have to worry about the timing. And at that point, it's just super easy to tell, you know, like when it happens. Like that. So that works a lot. So yeah, you can also do it as a hit confirm as well by doing the late cancel as well, so that if it's not a punish counter, you don't run at all, but if it is a punish counter, you do run, but you can still do the same thing. Just hold those 2 buttons and you will run the shortest distance possible. So there you go. So that's my little help for you on Kimberly there. So there's the sidetrack. Anyways. So yeah, Red Bull Kumite, great event, lots of fun. Always happy to see them continue to support the fighting game community, and I hope that this relationship stays for a very long time, because very few events can do it quite like they can, and they also just have a lot of experience with other things, Flugtags and BMX biking through cities like small villages in Europe and doing space jumps and all these things. Like, they're just so good at taking things and presenting them in very positive ways, and I think that's really, really cool. So shout outs to them, shout outs to another great Red Bull event, and make sure the next time they throw one, if you didn't get a chance to catch this one, obviously because of the time differences, still watch the archives, but watching it live is always great. So always keep an eye on all the Red Bull events, all the Red Bull fighting game events. Make sure you never miss those, and make sure you also never miss my podcast, It Was Tuesday, the show where I talk about all sorts of fighting games in a mature, nuanced, and actually just very educational way. Like, I want to make jokes about it, but like legit, like I talk about things in ways that really address a lot of the different sides of everything, and I really try to be very mature about it and very fair to a lot of the different sides of the arguments and such like that. So again, make sure you watch all of my episodes, follow me, subscribe. If you're on Twitch, please subscribe and help support me as well. I have a Patreon at patreon.com/jchenzer, which I'm going to change. Again, do people like, let me know in the chat as well. Do most people not use Patreon anymore, and most people just use like Ko-Fi or something like that, or you know, even some of the other ones, like I think like what, Buy Me a Coffee is one of them or something like that. Let me know which ones you prefer, and I'll try to switch to that one. And you know, if Patreon is not the one that people like anymore. But in any case, supporting me, subbing, all that stuff. Shout outs to Def Cause for supporting. Appreciate you very much. I appreciate that. And I'm sure you guys appreciate all of these conversations, because the day that this podcast graced your ears was the most important day of your life. But for me, I did that wrong. I hit the wrong button. Okay. But for me,
It was Tuesday.
that's what I get for trying to do it without looking I should really swap the locations of this button so that the Tuesday button is easier to find without looking. Yeah, Yamisaru, what is the... Oh, to teleport on counter hit? Oh, I see what you're saying. Actually, let me just go back over here really quick. There's not a lot of huge advantage one way or the other. Either really works. Either of them is will basically do the job for you. I just like the run one because a lot of times I'm very, very bad at doing like option select, hit confirming kind of things like that. So I use the run one because in generally it's safer than the teleport. So I prefer that a little bit. And then I also just feel like doing this just gives me a lot more options to do other stuff. Like stuff like that works. I don't know if that works off of teleport. Whoops. Yeah, see, it's hard to do that. But, if I wanted to do something like this to attack the drive meter, for example, this just gives you more options, right? Because none of her buttons on regular hit combo into drive impact. That's not a combo. So if I put to block after first hit, that doesn't work. That doesn't work, and none of her heavies are cancelable. This doesn't work. So she has a really bad situation that if I want to actually drain more meter because I hit you with a punish counter like this, no block, punish counter. Like if I do the teleport, I can't really do anything. Like that's not gonna combo, but I can actually do the, I can actually do like, that wasn't fast enough. Like I can actually do that to drain 2 blocks of drive meter. I just like the advantage that this affords me. I'm able to do a lot more stuff besides just, whatever combo is here, basically. I just feel like you can do a lot more. And then that is a little harder, I think, as well. Yeah, see, I don't even think it's possible off of the teleport. You can just do one hit like this. Can you actually get 2 of them? Yeah, so, and like this one, if you micro walk, you can get all 4 hits. Whoops. You don't even have to micro walk, you have to wait till he kind of finishes reeling a little bit, like that. It is tricky to time, but you can get more hits that way. You have to basically wait until Ken starts leaning up a little bit. It is a little bit trickier to time, but you can maximize the damage that way, like that, so. Oh right, you can also do, let's see, yeah, you do that one basically, like so. And then, but I think if I'm not mistaken, let me see here. Looks like if we just do that, that's 2502. Whoops, I did the wrong thing. See, that's 2601, slightly more damage, one of those things. So, that's why I do the other one. It's just because I feel like it gives me more options. Like, again, like if you do this right, like this, I'm plus 23. Like, I have 1,000 things that I can do. I think, even though that's no point, that's a combo. Like, you can see it's just like you get a lot more options, and that's why I do the run stop anyway. So, and like I said, if you do standing heavy punch into teleport, and they block everything, they could murder the teleport really, really badly. That's the worst thing about the teleport, is that it's so easy to blow up. So, I'm scared to teleport a lot of the time, so. yeah, feel free. But again, if you ever need any more Kimberly help, I'm always down because I like Kimberly. So, but let's go back over here. Woo! We've ended the show. Anyways, let me see if there's anybody I can raid over here. And we'll head on over there. What is wrong with my computer? What the hell, dude? Why is my computer being weird? I definitely need to reboot my computer. Holy crap, what has just happened? All these things are closing. I don't know what's going on. Holy shit. Hang on a second, guys. I'm gonna have to fix this really soon here. Something weird is going on over here. Let's see here. Okay, I don't need that one. All right, here we go. Let me raid over here, and then I will shut everything down and reboot my computer. Okay. Let's see here. I'm gonna go get a little bit of food, feed my cats, all that stuff like that. So, you said Forest, you said Nuggy Souls is playing right now. Where's she at right there? Oh yeah, there she is. Sure. All right, let's do that. Let's go raid Nuggy Souls, and I'll talk to you guys later. Take care of yourselves. Peace out. Have a good one. And for those of you here on YouTube, you're not gonna see the raid, but for those of you here on Twitch, you will get raided. So I'll see you guys later. Take care. Have a good one. Peace out. Good night, and stay safe out there. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes, as usual. And yeah, take care. Peace. Yeah, I guess now that it is on this channel, I can definitely add, yeah, just never forget that Black Lives Matter, Trans Lives Matter, Palestinian lives matter, women's lives and decisions matter. Continue to be excellent to each other. Party on. Peace out. I'll see you guys later.
Fun playing with you guys. It was like addicting. Let's go, chocolate! Oh shoot, James Chan! Thank you for the raid. What the heck? I really appreciate it. Yo! Thank you so much. Hey yo! Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you guys all had a great stream. James, I hope you had a wonderful stream. Y'all, I'm